Come on. Okay, well, obviously, I'm here to just react to a certain feathered individual. Man, this mic must be okay. I like that, man. That's pretty awesome. At least it sounds like it. Can I? How do I? Here it is. Yo, yo, yo. Alright, well, I ain't gonna fuck with it too much. There's something about this guy, man. It I wouldn't say triggers, but something about him just it irks me. And typically you let him talk long enough and he's gonna hang himself. So like this is 2 hour response to a 2 hour video apparently. But I just want to see, because typically he'll have some funny things to say, to add. Typically, like, he just cannot not say something stupid. So let me back up. I haven't watched but a few minutes of it, and I was already like, okay, here we go. So let me turn down Zelda a little bit. I should have. Yeah, let me just continue to check real quick. Alright, now if we bring him up.
This particular video that we're going to be responding to today, I thought about it. You know, I actually pondered would it even be worth, sitting through this and responding to. And you know, if you follow me on Twitter, you see that I actually quasi responded to it. You know, I kind of did a thread on Twitter. Yeah, it was one of those things where it's like, okay, let me sleep on it. So I went to sleep. Woke up, and I still feel like I need to respond to this. So here we are. We have a group of these wannabe EFAP guys. I believe one of them even was a part of EFAP, if I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken about that, but I don't think that I am. He was a part of EFAP, and they're doing the whole EFAP thing where they watch something and then they pause to talk about the thing, and they're doing it in like a Discord sort of chat sort of thing, you know, like a live stream. So that's what we're going to be responding to today. And obviously these people are parrots. They're watching my Go Woke, Go Broke video, and they very clearly disagree with it. So without any further ado, let's get into the madness.
Yeah, if he's got a nice voice, we'll just sit back and relax.
And I have to fast forward through this a little bit because like they go through like a little intro like I did with this video just now. So yeah, that part is irrelevant. But you do see people on the right above me here, the live stream chat talking shit about me. This is, as I said on Twitter, a congregation of Birdman antis. And also, I've seen a bit of this video already. I got up to about like 15 minutes, and
Well, it is very easy to do, quite honestly.
that's when I decided like I should respond to it. But then again, I went to sleep, and I did not respond. So here we go. Let me get to the point where my video actually starts.
General, let's get the specifics and watch a video. Here we go.
Last year, a fiction film by Gareth Edwards named The Creator blew me away. The theme surrounding AI.
Okay, now we're having an issue.
Child savior and a man trying to reunite with his
Okay, sorry, I had to. Sorry, I had to figure that out real quick. Okay, but now at least I know I can mute it right here. And I'll be able to hear it and pause it in real time.
lost lover are not exactly new to the genre, but the film's mix of all these elements combined to formulate a fiction film.
Yo.
Sorry. Okay, now let's go ahead and start it over again. We should be on point now. Hopefully.
Last year, a fiction film by Gareth Edwards named The Creator blew me away. The themes surrounding AI, a child savior, and a man trying to reunite with his lost lover are not exactly new to the genre, but the film's mix of all these elements combined to formulate a refreshing and original take. In my review, I noted that the film wasn't doing well at the...
I actually really like this video of mine. I know that sounds weird to say, but like, I watch a lot of my videos over and over and over, and this particular one, I enjoy watching over and over and over. And the reason I rewatch a lot of my work is due to me actually like trying to self-correct. So I'm like reanalyzing.
I don't think I've ever seen this gentleman self-correct. I don't think I've ever seen him, let's say, retract something. Could be wrong. But he doesn't seem like the type anyway. I think he just likes to hear himself and look at himself.
The arguments that I make with like new context sometimes or new information. So this one, I think, is one of those that just stands the test of time, I think, because this video was made 3 months ago. Their response video was made 3 months ago. I forgot to mention that. But for me,
3 months ago, my boy? You saw it when it came out. It got under your skin to the point you thought, I better respond to this. But then it took you 3 months to... whatever, let's see.
This video is so poignant and on point, and I feel like this video is going to be one of my videos that 5-10 years from now will be very well received, at least in the future. So this is one of my favorite videos that I've done.
The box office, despite...
He's making the first mistake. He's looking at the explosion.
Well, I mean, those numbers are not bad. They're not horrible, but they're not bad.
This part of the video is important. This part of their video is important because now pay attention. They are showing on the screen, me showing on the screen, the consensus for the film amongst people who've actually seen this film. That is going to be important later. Just keep that in mind.
Seems like he liked
But
it.
he's looking at the explosion.
Oh.
Oh, it's from the Rogue One guys.
critics and the audience alike.
Okay.
I wish you guys would support films like this. A lot of you have told me.
See, I don't like this argument already. I wish you guys would like the things I like. Like, wait.
Okay, let's be honest. New Year's resolutions can feel exhausting. Get fit, eat better, journal more. I mean, the list goes. All right.
To on Twitter. I'm not asking people to like what I like. This is the problem that you have where you pause before I can continue saying what it is that I'm trying to say. Okay. Obviously, the video is going to play and you'll get the context later. But the point that I was making here was that people have amongst the people that I've spoken to, and I'm speaking to my audience. I'm obviously live streaming here, guys. Like it's very clear. You can see there's the game on this side, and then there's the chat on the far left side there. I'm speaking to an audience, and in this context, I have talked to my audience and I've asked them. Actually, I made a video about this. You remember the in defense of the MCU video that I made? I conducted a poll where I asked people, are you still interested in the MCU? And a lot of the responses that I got was that no, some people are not. They're tired of the superhero genre and la-di-da-di-da. So in this particular live stream, what I was saying was, you guys have told me that you're tired of the superhero genre. You want more original movies. Here's an original movie. And for some reason, you guys aren't going to go see it. When I talked about it in the live stream, nobody knew what the fuck I was talking about. So my point here was simply, you're asking for original films, but you're not going to original films. This is something I talked about on Twitter multiple times. This is something I feel passionate about. I am a film person. Like, that's what I do. I love film. I go see 3 to 4 movies a week. Sometimes I post about it, sometimes I don't post about it, you know, but then a lot of the times I'll post like proof that I'm at a movie theater. You can actually.
I'll post proof. Who says it like that? It would be like, shit, sometimes, like sometimes I even post the ticket stubs when I, let my people know who I'm going to, or what movies I'm going to see. But you wouldn't contextualize it as, I post proof that I'm seeing the movies that I'm criticizing, or seeing the movies that I'm praising. I don't think you would refer to it as proof, especially when they didn't say anything about whether you've seen the movie or not. It's kind of weird.
To see my ticket, proof that I was there, even if I don't review the
Proof that he was there. What? Back up.
About it, sometimes I don't post about it, you know, but then a lot of the times I'll post like proof that I'm at a movie theater. You can actually see my ticket, proof that I was there, even if I don't review the film on my channel or even talk about it. It is proof that I was there. I go see all these.
That doesn't sound very human to me. Like, I'm posting proof that I was actually there watching those movies. Who are you trying to prove it to? Is it... Because even if you went to them, it doesn't even mean that you paid attention while you were in there. So what does it even benefit you to have this proof? Let's ride.
These original movies, and I think that they're great. You know, and I wish more people would go see them, but they don't. And most people go see a movie maybe 2, 3, 4 times a year, which sounds insane to those of us that are like in this space, because we go see movies every week, if not more. A movie or 2 or 3 every week, like I do. What I was simply trying to communicate here was, you guys have told me you want more original films, but when the original films get made, you don't go see them. That's the point that I was making. This guy, for whatever reason, thinks I'm saying you need to like what I like. I never said that. Like, I don't understand how people have videographic evidence. Like, you're literally watching a video and then you said something completely different to what I said. What?
Again, I haven't watched this video yet. I am live reacting. But something tells me you should keep that in mind, what he's saying right this second. How do you have videographic, or in this case audio, evidence of someone saying something, and then you think the exact opposite, right? Something along those lines. I'd keep that in mind. I'm keeping it in mind. We'll see if it pays off.
Like, literally replay what I said. I wish you guys would support movies like these. Support movies with an S like these.
Maybe maybe it's a good film to him, and he has to explain himself. I don't know. He just said he liked it. That's all we know.
The question with these things is always, how many other things have you seen?
And again, that's a question that is easily answered by doing the most cursory research you could on me. Like, do a little bit of research. My Twitter.
I thought they were reacting to your video. So this would be the research, right? But regardless, again, just because you post a ticket stub, doesn't mean you actually went. Doesn't mean you actually paid attention. Doesn't mean you know any of the terms that have anything to do with. A regular person could watch a million surgeries. It wouldn't mean that they could tell you what went wrong in one of them. Just saying.
Is right there on the screen. You can click on that and see that I see a fuck ton of movies. I'm pretty sure I go see more movies than all of these guys combined, like in a month.
which still logically means nothing. It doesn't mean that you know anything more than them or not. A lot of people can watch a lot of movies in a short period of time. It doesn't mean that they are good film reviewers or good film critics. Just saying.
Show us your ticket stubs, because mine are public. You have
I love how a grown-ass man really believes that means anything at all. Instead of defending his opinions, he starts to attack whether they've seen as many movies as him. When they're bringing up a subjective opinion about your video and your argument, but you still don't attack the argument. Whatever. Let's keep it going.
problems with like superhero movies taking over. This is one of those movies that's not that. It's an original IP. It's an original film. Why is this movie not doing numbers at the box office?
You hear my argument?
You complain and say,
I don't give a crap about IP. I give a crap about...
Shut up. This particular guy...
Why are you interrupting his argument? You'll let your whole argument play out when you know what you said. Theoretically, any actual human beings, not bots, that are subscribed to you, that are watching this shit, they know your content, so they know what you said. They haven't watched what these people said. So when he says, look, I don't care about IP, and you just immediately, maybe he'll let him play it out. Maybe he'll play it out later, but I think he's just going to insult him and run off the rails.
Annoys the fuck out of me. In the 15 minutes of this video that I watched, that particular dude is the worst. And it might have been a little bit more than 15, because like we're at like 12, and I know I saw a little bit more than this. It might have been like maybe 18, maybe 20 minutes. Let's say 20 minutes that I've watched this video. And in the 20 minutes that I've watched, that guy with the heavy accent, I can't really place his accent. I'm not sure where he's from. I don't know who he is. He annoyed me the most. He's the one that like, I'm like, oh, I gotta respond. I gotta respond to this guy, because like, I'm not gonna let this motherfucker say what the fuck he wants to say.
So I'm going to make a response 3 months later. I'm not going to let him say what he wants to say. No way a lefty would be against free speech. That's just antithetical, isn't it? Let's see, man.
But yeah, this particular guy is fucking annoying.
all these remakes and reboots, superhero movies.
He did. He cut the argument off. What the fuck?
The
But you
argument?
complain and say,
I don't give a crap about IP. I give a crap about...
Shut up. This particular guy, 20 minutes, let's say 20 minutes. The accent, he annoyed me. I respond to this guy because like fucking annoying.
all these remakes and reboots, superhero movies, but then the original movies get made and nobody goes to see them. The film's protagonist,
He completely skipped whatever criticism that the guy had, which tells me more than likely it was a scathing criticism, one that he couldn't refute or rebut. So he just says, this guy's an asshole, or wait for it, I bet he calls him racist or something. If he can't place the accent and he's not sure that it's a black person, he's going to assume that it's a racist person. I'm willing to bet. But let's give him some time. He's still just pulling rope out right now. We'll see if he starts tying the noose around his shoulders or something.
and his love interest, a black man and an Asian woman, respectively, are relatively unique.
That is fucking annoying.
All these remakes and reboots, superhero movies, but then the original movies get made and nobody goes to see them. The film's protagonist and his love interest, a black man and an Asian woman, respectively, are relatively unique in big Hollywood productions, something I took note of in my own review of the film.
Not really.
Mainly because I've been writing my own story featuring those same demographics.
Not really, because that's the DEI bullshit of race mixing.
That's the DEI bullshit of race mixing.
Yes. Yeah, it is. Are you going to make an argument against it being that? Do you have anything to refute it? Or are you just going to stare into the camera in place of an argument?
We've got about 50 million followers. We're in the billions of
Perfect
views. And we're a
timing.
small team. We always felt like
He's just going to
You're probably starting to understand why I consider
why I don't like you. Yes, I mean, I am understanding why I started to not like you. It is what it is, unfortunately. Some people go down this path. Hopefully, he's not too far gone.
him the most annoying so far. This motherfucker just sat here and said a hiring practice.
Wait a minute. Let me wait. He can keep pulling rope.
Is responsible for race mixing. A hiring practice. I think these people forget what DEI actually stands for, and it's diversity, equity, and inclusion. Okay, this is the basis for diversity training in a business. And you know what annoys me about this is something that, people from my own community, the Black community, are going to have a problem with me saying, but I'm going to say it anyway. There is no such thing as race.
Well, fuck. If he's going where I think he's going with this, then I actually have to agree with this motherfucker for once. There's just the human race. There's not different races. There's different tribes. Different genes are more commonly expressed in different parts of the world, and different cultures are significantly different based on geography and other more local factors. But there's one race. Now, I'm willing to bet, because he seems, again, just from what I've seen, to just swallow whatever the government says. So I'm willing to bet that he doesn't think that we all come from Adam, and that this generation of people, the table of nations here today, are descended from Noah and Shem and Ham and Japheth. But he does seem, he's probably saying that we're all monkeys that evolved, so there's only one race because we can only procreate with each other, even though I don't know. Let's see.
There's the human race. Okay. Remember, I'm very scientifically minded. Like, this is my whole thing is science, facts, logic, reason. Oh, and math. In science, there's no such thing as different races. It's not a thing. Okay. A different race means a different species. It's another word for a species. The species is what allows something to breed. So, for example, a poodle could theoretically mate with a Great Dane because they are the same species, right? But a poodle could not mate with a horse because they are a different species. This means I can have sex with your mom and give you a sibling. Bad accent guy. That means we are the
Why? Just why? Why on earth would you? It always cracks me up when people try to portray themselves as more intelligent or more cultured or more accepting, and then they show themselves to be pieces of shit. It's just, I don't know, it's an odd strategy. Yeah, I guess it works for them though. I mean, fuck, if they're rewarded by it, that must be why they continued that behavior, I suppose. Sad thing though to watch it.
The same race. And you know, there's a reason why like my community doesn't really like that. It's a whole thing that I won't really get into. But what most people, when they talk about race, they're really talking about culture and phenotypes. And there are phenotypical differences between human beings. For example, I am brown skin, whereas the person that is on the other end of this is probably not, right? So like there are different phenotypes, like, you know, you have different nose shapes, different eye colors, eye shapes. You know, you can have an epicanthic fold if you're Asian, like things like that. They're just...
Why? Why do you say the person on the other end of this probably isn't? Like, he has no clue. Just because he has an accent. But he doesn't know, and he's not willing to do the cursory amount of research on this guy to know whether he's black or white or what. So he can't throw all the shade, all the hatred he'd like to. Man, these people are wild sometimes, dog. Like, I don't know how else to put it. Like, they will do the exact thing. They'll be in the process of calling you out for a thing that they are currently in the process of engaging in when you didn't engage in that. He very much fits the bill to me personality-wise. We'll see if it ends up being just that.
There are phenotypical differences between human beings. Yes, just like there are phenotypical differences between dogs, right? A poodle looks different than a boxer, and they both look different to a greyhound, and they all three of those look different to the Irish wolfhound. But they're all still dogs, and they all can still breed with each other. Now, culture is a thing, you know, that's just based on your geographic location and the history of that geographic location. Culture is a thing, absolutely. Phenotypical differences are a thing. Absolutely. Races are not. Sorry. Now, I know what they'll probably go with is that the hiring of the actors is what is DEI, because, you know, DEI is in a business context, right? So the problem with that is we're talking about John David fucking Washington, a pretty big A-list star. You know,
I'm not sure he would be considered A-list. I mean, he might be Denzel's son, but typically you're a household name if you're an A-list celebrity. And Denzel is a household name. His son is not. Will Smith is a household name. Jaden Smith is not. People know Will has kids, but like, let's let him keep going though. Let's let him keep going.
But he was in Tenet. You know, Christopher Nolan hired him for the protagonist, which was literally the name of the character. So was it DEI then? You know, what, like, why, what, like, is just the inclusion of black people at all DEI for you? Like, what does that even mean? That just means that black people can't be hired at all, ever, because it would be DEI, right? Because, like,
no. And especially when it concerns the movies, like, I think it's more like when you take a character and make them black for no good reason. Especially if it's one that's, like, out of place. Kind of like the Game of Thrones spinoff, House of the Dragon. It's like, well, how come we don't see any black people in Game of Thrones? And it's like, well, they're all here now. But like, it doesn't mean, why would you extrapolate to any time a black person gets a job? Like, I don't think that's what anybody is suggesting, that's what DEI means. Keep pulling on that rope, sir.
What you're saying just doesn't make sense. Like, think about the context of this film. We have a big A-list star, the son of fucking Denzel Washington, and he has talent. Why wouldn't you want to hire him? So, as I showed on Twitter, he was the first actor hired for this gig. The first, number one. Then they said, well, you know, we want to film this film on location, and every single location they talked about was in Asia.
So since every place that they want to film is going to be in Asia, who are the most prevalent, or what are the most prevalent phenotypes, right, found in Asia? Is it black people? But maybe he'll acknowledge that maybe putting a black person in an Asian, what would probably should have been an Asian male should have got the role if the whole movie is shot on location in Asia, and there's a love story between a native woman, a native to that area woman, and someone obviously not native to that area. I don't know, that's interesting to say the least. Let's see if he acknowledges it. He very well may.
Yeah, typically in Asia.
But what I think he's going to do is say it makes sense for the love interest to be Asian because it's shot on location in Asia, but he'll never apply the same logic or reason or math to why a black man is in the middle of Asia doing action hero shit, as if he could blend in. Or as if Asian girls typically go for black guys who are native to that area in that area. Okay. I mean, I've heard other things, let's just say.
Location, and every single location they talked about was in Asia. Yeah, typically in Asia, there's going to be a lot of Asian people. You know what I mean? So the protagonist, the first actor they hired, fell in love with an Asian woman.
The first actor that they hired doesn't look like he would live in Asia. Doesn't look like he's native to that area. Instead of finding a leading man who would look as if he belonged in that area, they got Denzel's son. Now, is anybody saying that Blade and Blade 2 was DEI? You know, obviously it was before all this, but you know what I'm saying? No. What about in Wolverine? No. Why not? Because that character was a black individual in the comics. His origin was that. But just this, I mean, let's see where he goes, because I don't know what the fuck he's thinking.
And they wound up getting married. I'm trying to figure out the DEI here because it seems like it fit the story they were trying to tell. You have a protagonist, you want to tell a love story, and it is set in Asia. But we got John David Washington because he's a...
So we got him because he's a big star. Is that like saying no Asian men are big stars? Why don't you make one a big star? It's just like he doesn't understand why I don't know why he's making the argument this way without. That's why I'm like, that seems disingenuous for him to not be able to see. Well, maybe the black protagonist is what's out of place in this story. Because his only argument for that is that Denzel's kid is a big star, and he was the first person that they signed for the role. Like, I think he's purposefully obtuse 99% of the time, and he just tries to find ways to not see the obvious at the end of the day.
Big fucking star. He was just in a big Christopher Nolan film. We want him. But for you people, it's never about talent. I had to
What do you mean, you people?
respond to another fucking guy that talked about the black woman that was in the Minecraft film, and apparently she just can't be in movies because, like, if she's in a movie, it's DEI. Except for the fact that, you know, she was an Oscar nominee. She's actually really fucking good at what she does. For you people, it's never talent. It's always some fucking agenda, and that's why
An emotional individual right here. It's not about talent. Well, he used a false equivalency again. It was like it's saying because someone has a nomination for a Grammy, that must mean they're a great actress or actor. So then I guess Juicy J and DJ Paul must be great actors. Great actors, man, because they won a Grammy. Shit. Or an Oscar, or whatever the fuck. What are we even talking about? But yeah, no, an Oscar for Hustle and Flow, right? False equivalency. Just because she was nominated for a fucking award doesn't mean she's great. Number two, if you're going to say that somebody says this very blanket-like statement of she can't be in a movie, otherwise it's DEI, you should probably provide a little bit of evidence for that. Just my thought.
hate you motherfuckers. I can't.
Sorry, I knew he was in the middle of a bitch fit, but let's back it up so we can see it in full force.
Fact that, you know, she was an Oscar nominee. She's actually really fucking good at what she does. For you people, it's never talent. It's always some fucking agenda, and that's why I hate you motherfuckers. I can't stand you bitches. What's so insidious about you people, it's you always go black people, queer people, women, you know, all the non-straight white male groups. They're pawns in some sort of board game that is played against you.
You can see the wheels turning, but there's so much bullshit in between those gears, dog. Like, it's not moving at all. There's nothing. There's just smoke coming out the ears. That's why the headphones is on. Holy shit, this is actually kind of funny to watch.
So, like, you know, the inclusion of these people, it's to attack you. Instead of the fact that, hey, these people just might be talented. Ever thought of that? But again, like, this annoys me because it's like the context of the film, it just totally makes sense. Gareth literally said he wanted to make a movie on location, and the locations that he chose were all Asia.
So then it makes sense that the main character is black. Because all the locations are Asian. Don't you see? That's perfectly logical. I'm the Birdman. Bird brain motherfucker.
So the story obviously has to take place with Asians, and there's going to be a lot of Asian people, and then boom, the protagonist is a black guy. So it's going to be a love story. Like there is no DEI here, even if that's what you want to call DEI. Like that just doesn't even make sense.
I'm not sure I would call it DEI, but I wouldn't call it making sense either, to be quite honest. Because you're the one who's harping on this, and we don't know what the fuck you're reacting to because you're playing very minimal parts of it. More than likely because it hurts your soul for 3 months. You've been filming this shit, putting on the same shirt and hat, trying to get through this and do something about it. That's how bad it hurts you. But you won't play it out so that your audience would actually hear the arguments, because then they'd probably side with the arguments that actually make sense instead of just your bullshit.
And then this lunatic goes off on a little fucking tangent about Finn and...
Dog, you've only been going on tangents. We haven't been able to ascertain one single coherent, full argument from their side yet.
Rose, I believe, from episode, 8? Star Wars. They always got to go back to Star Wars. It's always Star Wars with these fucking idiots. And how, that was a bad thing. Obviously, the other guy that I responded to said this, a very similar thing. He was like, well, Finn didn't get to go with the pretty white girl. He had to go with the ugly Asian girl. Well, guess what, motherfuckers? Gemma Chan ain't ugly. And that's really your problem. I think that's the problem, is that there's certain white guys that think that Asian women belong to them. And, I'm going to say this, okay? Like, don't take this the wrong way, Asian women who watch my videos, which aren't very many. The ones that are in, like, the West, like America, Australia, the UK, etc., they typically do, like, go for white guys. But not in Asia. Not in Asia. Don't get me wrong. There are some that are, like, in white guys in Asia. Like, don't get that twisted. But, like, in Asia, the vast majority of...
What the fuck is even happening right now? They've said 2 sentences and this nigga has talked for 15 minutes straight about nothing. Oh my God. He's lucky he's on the left, because if he was conservative, this nigga would be canceled for all this just retard. Anyway.
Of Asian women go for Asian guys. That's just what it is. I've been there. I know a little bit about that.
Then why on earth would a story about a non-Asian man, a love story with a non-Asian man, set in an Asian country with an Asian woman, how does that make sense logically to you, sir? What the fuck is happening with this man's brain? It is degenerate.
That's all I'm gonna say on that.
If you ask any of the media grift or their parrots why that movie failed, you'll likely come away with stuff like this.
Before you know it, Taylor and his team are deep behind enemy lines and money.
Okay, so Critical Drinker's a grifter?
Did he just mention the parents of the grifters, quote unquote? What do they have to do with this?
Nothing, you idiot. I said parrots. Parrot. Parrot, not parents. I take offense to that because, like...
You take offense to a lot of shit. But why you would keep this in to argue about in your 2-hour video a misunderstanding, a clear misunderstanding? Why? Like, I'm really... Did he play football at all? I doubt it. Because he seems like... He doesn't seem like an athlete. So, like... At least not a team sport athlete. I don't think. I think the bitch in him would have been dealt with long ago. Because I was gonna say maybe he has CTE, whatever the fuck, but like I don't know why. I just feel like, or maybe it was because I was young when I first came across Cinema Sins and his channel, and so I was like, oh, this is funny, funny way to poke fun at films, and then you poke fun at people who poking fun at films, so I can kind of enjoy that. And then it's been 10 years he's been doing the same shit. And I was like, well, maybe him and Jeremy work together, sort of thing. I don't know if that's the case or not. But then, like, I started to come back to film review. I started getting a chance to watch more films again. And when I started to revisit his content, I started to realize that it's the shallowest of the shallow. Well, not the shallowest, but half the time it's almost as if you're in a shallow kiddie pool that's inside of the real pool. So you're not really criticizing the film in any real way at all. You're hardly even in you're hardly even capable of it by watching their videos. That they're so, again, to me they're not even touching the surface, let alone scratching it. And half the time it's just inaccurate. They don't really analyze things too well. So let's see. Just a second. Somebody just touched my doorknob. And I just want to use shaggy. Well, didn't get to use the shotty yet. But let's just jump back in because I don't know what to do with this guy here.
I take great pride in my diction. It's something that is comes in handy as a voice actor, which I am.
Well, your diction is going to be... It's very difficult to understand the enunciation, the articulation of your words when your dick is in your own mouth. Nobody likes a person who does this, which you did it in the beginning, and I just, I didn't want to react to it, but here we are again. And you can't resist slobbing your own knob. It's fucking hilarious to watch.
So whenever I'm behind a mic, I am taking my time when speaking. Like in these video essays, I speak in a way that's like measured and in control. Like there's a specific cadence that I have when I am speaking in these videos, and it's on.
He hasn't gotten any good roles, has he? Nothing memorable, I'm willing to bet. Probably nothing at all. But you'll call yourself a voice actor. Let's see. Should I? No. We'll
Purpose. It's so that you can, hang on to every word. You can hear exactly what it is I'm trying to say. That I'm not putting too much emotion into the words. So there's a actor which is, but the one that Asian women. Guess what, motherfuckers? Gemma Chan ain't ugly. The other guy that I responded to, Star Wars, they Rose, and then, even if and there's going to be a lot of Asian people, all Asian, it just told part of that. But the fact that hey, these people just might be talented. So like board game that they're pawns in the non-black bitches fucking agenda, and that's why I hate you motherfuckers. I can't stand you bitches. What's so insidious about you?
No emotion at all, huh? None at all. Sorry. It's just when he contradicts himself within his own video, it's just funny to see.
You know, I take offense to that. Something I injured and in control. Like there's a specific cadence that I have when I am speaking in these videos, and it's on purpose. It's so that you can, you know, hang on to every word. You can hear exactly what it is I'm trying to say. That I'm not putting too much emotion into the words, so that like I'm not swaying you based on emotion, and I'm trying to just give you the actual thing that I'm saying, right? So it's a technique that voice actors use, and I'm using it very much on purpose in these videos. So it's weird to me that, and it's kind of offensive to me, right? In like a funny sense. I'm not being like, you know, overly serious here, but it's a little offensive to me when I take very measured approach to the way that I'm.
At what point is he gonna address any actual arguments? He hasn't addressed any of them yet. He's barely let any of them play. This one isn't even an argument. Let's continue.
I'm speaking in these video essays, and these people just parents. I didn't say parent. I said parrot, which is what you people are. You are all parrots.
Not the
Can
parents.
can we define what grifter means?
He hasn't done so. Yeah, we don't know.
Oh shit!
For context, this video was made 3 months ago. This was before I did actually make the video on me defining grifter. And again, this is my point of that video, the grifter video. The when I defined it was that for some reason I assumed we all knew what a media grifter was.
You weren't even saying media grifter. You were just saying grift and grifter. And why would you assume that everyone is using the same definition of a word when that's not how language works? I thought everyone was aware that's not how language works, that you need to be specific. That if you're a media personality, a voice actor, that you should be able to, articulate in such a way that people are clear on what it is that you mean by what it is that you say.
I guess I was just being a little too idealistic and too optimistic, right? But the thing is, these people are playing stupid. That's really the thing here. But their audience probably can't tell.
No, you can't go that route. If you yourself felt that it was necessary to make a video defining grift for your audience, and they are reacting to this video in real time 3 months ago, before you had defined it for your audience, then guess what? This criticism is legitimate. Take it. Shut the fuck up.
They're just being, silly. They know what we mean when we say grifter, but what they're trying to do, and that's really the whole point of this fucking video that I made, right? What they're trying to do is have a very rigid and narrow definition of the word grifter, so that it doesn't apply to them and people like them, right? But for some reason, pay attention to what we're talking about.
They're waiting for you to determine it, to define it, so that they know what you mean when you say it. This isn't about what they think the definition is. Intentionally obtuse.
We're talking about go woke, go broke, right? Woke is a word that had a very specific and narrow definition. It's Black American slang. My people made that up. My culture, I should say. Then they took it and bastardized it and made it extremely broad, and that the word means whatever they want it to mean, right? Like, for some reason, woke it's like a catch-all phrase for anything that they don't like. Anything that's not straight white male, right? Like that's what woke means to them. Somehow they want to be very narrow and focused and rigid with the word grifter. See the hypocrisy here?
Shut the fuck up. These things aren't analogous. What the fuck are you even talking about? Not to mention you're mischaracterizing a lot of people's positions, apparently. And I think you're unclear on what grifting actually is. Or you're unclear on how you would be able to ascertain if a person is grifting. Either they would need to be caught saying and doing things contrary to what they're selling people, or you would have to be a mind reader. And considering you have trouble reading your own mind, I don't think that's the case. So, and since I haven't seen someone like Drinker promoting something that it's not clear that they believe at the time, it kind of makes me look at you like a hypocrite, or like just a piece of shit who's lying.
Yeah, I do.
We'll stay with the original meaning, the objective meaning, which is somebody who holds an opinion that he, or peddles an opinion that he doesn't actually hold for personal gain.
The irony is this motherfucker just bastardized the acronym DEI. The irony of him doing this. That's why I can't stand this motherfucker.
He didn't bastardize it at all. And considering you didn't bring forth any evidence to the contrary, all you said was, wait, how is it DEI when they put a black man in Asia in an Asian movie in a role that probably should have went to an Asian man? This motherfucker.
And with the problem with Drinker is that
we don't care. We know what the problem with Drinker is.
Star Wars, as stated by Lucas himself, is an homage to the Vietnam War.
You did something very interesting with Star Wars, if you think about it. The good guy...
Yeah, but that's an homage. Doesn't mean that's the theme or the focus.
My dude, this right here is exactly why you let...
He just skips ahead and doesn't know what's been said just recently before he played. And he's pretending he's watched this far. I'm so confused. Is this how he reacts to content? Like, I feel like I would be lost if he just decided to skip. Well, hey, I don't care. I'm supposed to be reacting to your comments, but I don't care about what you say. So I'm going to skip forward to the next comment that you make so that I can say I don't care about it, so that I can skip to the next comment that you make so I can say I don't care about it. And then I can say I refuted all your points. Like, I'm so confused, bro.
Someone's full point play out before you pause. There's a very specific, like, this is a video essay, okay? I don't know what English school you guys went to, but the ones I went to said that you have a thesis.
Is he trying to say that he went to a school in London or in Britain? Or is he trying to say that he went to a school specifically that was known as an English school? Because I'm thinking you didn't pass English class if you're calling public school or private school or universities an English school. If you're talking about a university in Britain, then by all means, it is an English school. And I wouldn't care typically when people make little mistakes like this in speaking, but you've edited this heavily and you missed this, and you're being a hypocrite because you would give them shit about mishearing your parent, you'll give them shit about. But you'll come in here and say English schools on something that you're editing heavily. He was talking live. And you'll give him shit about that. But you edited this heavily and you missed that? Ugh. And you've been at it for 3 months and you still missed it. Ugh.
You have a thesis statement at the beginning, and then you use evidence to support that thesis. And that will be the body of your essay, to be the paragraphs supporting your thesis and your thesis statement. Okay. So in video essay form, I will say something and then show evidence for that thing. And that's what this was. And you stopped it before the evidence could come through.
So why don't you play it? Show us the evidence, what you were about to say that actually refutes the point that he brought up then. Why even go through this diatribe of talking?
To interject with your bullshit. This is why this format fucking sucks. This format is not conducive to...
Want to be in the tech industry?
He's getting burnt the fuck up with people holding him accountable to whatever the fuck he's saying. And what he said previously, and I think that's why he doesn't like this format. Just a thought.
Like an intellectual pursuit. And that's really what this is. You know, we're talking about media literacy here, and to expose the people that are profiting off of like the culture war surrounding conversations and discourse about film. But for some reason, you guys just like, you don't have maybe the schooling or the education or the knowledge to understand what is actually occurring in something like a video essay. Okay.
Dude, you make YouTube videos and you failed at being an actor and failed at being a voice actor. Where did you go to school? Not that that would necessarily mean that you had knowledge, but what exactly makes you a knowledgeable individual? Because I can tell by how you speak, you're pretending, but you're not like Ivy League educated. You're not even that bright for the people I know that teach themselves. Just an insecure little dude, I guess. Yeah, it is what it is. I don't blame him.
But again, he paused before the evidence disproves what he said. Like I said, this is something that George Lucas.
So you better not be engaging in the same. Well, he's already engaged in that. So engaged in that when he called it, when he said, I forget how he was phrasing the argument. Birdman was phrasing the argument. It's an original IP. And then the guy paused it and said, I don't really care about IP. And then he cut him off. So we never heard the rest of his argument, Birdman's argument, and we never heard the rest of that guy's argument. He just paused it and then moved on to a whole different section of the video. Editing Birdman, at it again, trying to save past Birdman's ass.
This is a theme he tried to include into the Star Wars films. And then I then get ready to show evidence of that. And then he pauses it and goes, well, that's just an homage. That's not really what it was. Bro, shut up and let it play. Shut the fuck up and listen to what happens first and then respond. Because you might not actually have a response after you've seen the evidence.
It's like saying, oh, I'm making a car in the shape of a Ferrari. It's like, yeah, but you're not making a Ferrari.
What a fucking stupid example. I'm skipping this. Let's get forward.
Exactly. He did it in the exact same segment that he was bitching at them about it. And he brought up hypocrisy the segment before. It has to be projection. I don't see any other way around it. He's incapable of taking criticism for long enough to experience any kind of self-reflection. Because even some of these, I'm like, they're not even, it's not even a criticism. It's not even a criticism. It's a disagreement or like a different perspective, and he can't fucking handle it. He wants no parts whatsoever of anybody who thinks any differently than his woke bubble fucking mentality. That's all that's in there. That's all that's allowed in there is the echo chamber shit. And if anything penetrates that shit, the white blood cells come out, let's just say, and start eating and killing everything.
Because, like, holy fuck, that was dumb.
I think we call those guys terrorists today. We call them Mujahideen, we call them Al-Qaeda.
When I did it, they were Vietcong.
Exactly. So were you thinking of that at the time?
Yes. All of those are bad groups, though.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, okay. So again, it's this fucking dude that I can't stand. But here's the thing. First of all, whether somebody is bad is a subjective statement. Okay. From their perspective, they weren't bad. From your perspective, they are. Whatever. That's not even close to the point.
By your logic, no, there is no good and no evil. Because everybody is good in their own perspective. And everyone has people that they see as bad from their own perspective. But that doesn't matter because it's just subjective. So then you'd have to ask this guy if grape is wrong. If stealing is wrong, and if there are absolutes that are wrong, I mean, maybe he'll say no. Yeah, let's see. Let's see what that point was, right? Let's back up a bit.
Whatever. That's not even close to the point that George was making. It's not even close to the point that I'm making with including this clip. The point I'm making is here's a theme that George was injecting into his films. Someone actually wrote a comment on my video about this particular thing, and they said something similar to what this fucking weirdo said. Well, those guys are bad. Well, that's really not even the point. The point is, from George's perspective, it's the little guy versus the big guy. And that's the overarching theme of Star Wars. And this is why someone watching like Rogue One or any of the Star Wars films could pick up on, well, yeah, it's the Rebel Alliance versus the Empire. It's the little guy versus the big guy. It's very similar to the Vietnam War, where the little guys, were able to hold off the bigger guys. That's the point. And right over these fucking guys' heads. Well, those guys are bad. You thought you said something. You didn't say anything, you fucking idiot. Shut up and actually listen to what the fuck people are saying before you pause and interject with your dumbass opinion.
Now, you remember he said something about not speaking when he's behind the mic with a bunch of emotion that could sway people into feeling one way or another about what's being presented. Did that sound like what he's talking about? Trying to sway people with emotion? I think that's something like a hypocrite would do.
Somehow doesn't realize that Rogue One also fits the Vietnam War comparison, and that's likely why the creator feels familiar, but I digress. Drinker's review of this movie is totally fine, and I agree with a lot.
So, you're okay with it? All right.
So you're the grifter too?
He misses the point, but I agree with him.
Yeah, this is a weird. He's wrong in all these points, but he's okay. Like, all right.
He's a grifter, but I agree with everything he says.
Once again, pausing before I make my point. Imagine this for a second, okay? Imagine this. I say, I like the color blue, but my favorite color is red. Full sentence, right? And I'm going to give you some context for that full sentence. In every instance, like you see me, I drive a red car. I wear the color red very often. I have a video on the color red. I talk about red a lot. But what these guys just did is the equivalent of going, I like blue, and then pausing. Well, what? But everything you do is red. You have a red car. You have a video about red. You talk about red all the time. Red is obviously your favorite color, dude.
This guy, I thought that it was gonna be that he would actually have problems with their argument. But all he keeps talking about is the fact that they pause. Then he respond. I don't even know what he's responding to half the time. This is some sad shit. People watch this. 1,400 people apparently have given this a thumbs up. I mean, some people just like to support people that they like, you know. And you can't really blame them for that. They probably didn't watch this shit. You know what I mean?
Why are you saying blue is your favorite color? That's exactly what they just did to me just now. I like blue, comma, but my favorite color is red. They stopped it at the comma. And they didn't get the rest of what I was trying to say. Here, obviously, I'm saying Drinker's review on this particular film is fine, but, and then I go on to explain what it is I'm trying to explain. This is the problem with this format. This is why this is dumb.
But did you notice the problem he had with a girl being the key to everything? This is the problem, and how...
You hear how I say, this is the problem. If you wouldn't have paused, you'd have heard that. This is the problem. Jinkies. And I'm skipping this part because they go into a whole spiel about like misunderstanding what I said. It's not.
You see what I mean? He'll cut them off, give his point a chance to expand, and then just move on. Then just move on. Then just move on. The truth is gonna be hell for people like this, bro. When it comes back to you after all this that you've been doing, there's a reason why this nigga stood out to me. It wasn't just because I was already subscribed, but no, he started to poke and prod people, and I was like, damn, like there might be something going on here. And the more that I look into it, the more I watch these people's channels and look back at their histories and stuff, I'm like, oh, Birdman's a grifter. He's mad because he doesn't have any creative content at all. So now he's trying to, but all he can do is lash out at people and yell into his microphone and say he's a voice actor and say let's move on, or that was stupid, or we're going to fast forward. He doesn't seem to be capable of actually engaging with the arguments that they're making. We as an audience don't even know what arguments they're making because he won't allow them to play out. He will just scream into the microphone and then move on to the next subject. What the fuck? And there's an hour and 40 minutes left.
It's not important. I don't really feel like I need to respond to this. And then they misunderstand the Trojan horse that I put on the screen here. So let's just continue.
Look at what people who definitely consume this type of media analysis thought of the creator. You might think I've been unfair to the critical drinker recently. I want you to keep that in mind when you look at these comments made by people who have the benefit of sharing their real opinions because they can hide behind their anonymity. Look at just how uncanny some of these posts are to drinkers' own oft-repeated.
So, by Birdman's own logic, because he is an entity that's not hiding behind anonymity, he's not able to bring forth his real opinion. about anything. Because apparently he believes that if you're not able to hide, let me make sure I'm hearing that right.
Made by people who have the benefit of sharing their of the creator. You might think I've been unfair to the critical drinker recently. I want you to keep that in mind when you look at these comments made by people who have the benefit of sharing their real opinions because they can hide behind their anonymity.
Yeah, he said because. Ooh. He's not very good at writing, is he? He's not very good at anything, is he? No, he's got to be good at some shit. But I think if he was good at voice acting, he'd have a job. You know? Let's see.
Look at just how uncanny some of these posts are to Drinker's own oft-repeated words. Similar to Drinker's position on the people the Riddler killed in The Batman, this person thinks every white person in the movie is a villain. But that's just not true, as the protagonist's friend is white, and he literally dies trying to help him. One of the film's recurring antagonists is an Indian. But it gets worse. On that same page, you see people express...
Looked more Arab, but okay.
And I showed this on Twitter. Again, this fucking guy. I got to come up with a nickname for this fucking dude because, like, I don't know any of these guys. I know the smut.
Why is he so angry? Like, you think the guy was like, fucking Nick. You know what I'm saying? Like, you would think this guy had really said some shit, but he's just mad because he disagrees. He's just mad because he's like, well, that guy looked more Arab than Indian to me. And you're mad? Like, it's more of a performance, to try to emotionally sway his audience, because he definitely can't do it with logic or reason or science or math or anything that's objective. He can only try to use subjective feelings about this or that to fucking sway his audience. I should learn to get better at that, I guess.
Boy, Smud, whatever the fuck. That's the only one I know by name. The other three, I don't know. But I got to come up with some fucking nickname for this dude because he is frustrating to listen to. Anyway, he paused the video to say, oh, but he looks more Arab than anything, but okay. What the fuck is the value in something like that? It wasn't entertaining. Nobody laughed. None of the chat actually reacted to it. What was the point of that?
To say his opinion, just like you've been doing this whole time without really addressing any of the arguments that have been made and skipping over all of them and just moving on to the next thing over and over again. I don't know what the point of the last 29 minutes of your video has been, because you haven't addressed anything or anybody. You've just sat there and stroked your own ego for 30 minutes.
There's no point. He looks Arab, but okay. Like, you're so insular. Like, you racists. You're so insular. Like, you motherfuckers have no clue.
Whoa. So now you're assuming that he's racist. Why? Exactly. This is that victimhood mentality shit that's stereotypical of many of your culture individuals these days. And I myself am in a position uniquely able to comment on such a thing. Don't you think?
About anything other than your little general vicinity. And that's why you're racist. That's why you're a piece of shit.
You live in LA, right? That's why you act the way you do. That's why you're a piece of shit. But yet you want to project it onto everyone else and think that everyone else is as racist as you are. I'm starting to see through it. Hopefully everyone else will too.
Shit. That's why you call, people that you don't know an Arab. The guy's clearly Indian. I said he was.
I don't know how many people you've seen from India and from Pakistan. But I've seen a lot. Sometimes people look similar. It's not the end of the world, nor is it racist to not know what every fucking nationality looks like. Please stop it. Save your integrity, you fucking bum.
Was Indian in the video. You think I'm putting out like inaccurate information in my videos? You think I would do that? A person who calls out people for putting inaccurate information out into the internet? You think?
Yes, you would be the number one person I would expect to do that. Yes. Anyone who tries to make themselves in a power position or an arbiter of that shit is gonna try to take advantage of that shit at some point or another. What, do you not know how humans act? Or you think you're better than humans, like in most cases? Like, I see. That must be what it is.
Think I would do that? I mean, there's always the possibility that I'm wrong. Just going, he looks more Arab than anything. Like, that's not a fact check. Like, actually do the research and find out if he...
It's an opinion. Looks more isn't something that you fact check. Looks more is a subjective thing. I figured you would like a subjective thing, since nothing is objective to you. What is wrong with him saying that? Oh, that's right. If somebody disagrees with you, then there's an objective wrong. Whoever disagrees with you that day. But otherwise, everything's subjective. I got you.
He's Arab. Because this was fucking pointless. But this is what you guys do. Because you disagree with the thesis of this video that...
The rope has been pulled out. I don't know what you would say. Maybe about 8 feet or so. 12 feet, maybe? Depends on how tall of a tree we're talking about. And I'd say that he has tied the noose pretty effectively. Now, the only question is whether he places it around his own neck or if he smartly and wisely looks at what he has been doing, puts it down, and walks away from it.
Go woke, go broke is not a real thing. You have to disagree with me at every turn. You just have to. I'm your enemy. And you have to, like, everything that I say has to be wrong, right? You like the color green. If I say green's a great color, no, green fucking sucks because he said it. That's how you treat people like me. And that's what this was here. Just irrelevant, but you had to do it because you have to disagree with me at every fucking turn. You're a fucking loser.
And that the film is woke exclusively because the main actor is black.
No emotion in his voice. None at all.
This is the legacy of people.
If the if the main character is black and his friend is white and dies trying to help him, that's just the reverse trope that Hollywood does, where the black guy is the friend who dies trying to help.
Y'all heard that, right? Y'all heard what he said?
Is the character is black.
And that the film is woke exclusively because the main actor is black. This is the legacy of people.
If the if the main character is black and his friend is white and dies trying to help him, that's just the reverse trope that Hollywood does, where the black guy is the friend who dies trying to help.
To be honest, I don't really get that argument. Maybe it's the way he cut it, or maybe he's cut it before it gets clarified. Don't understand where he was going with that one. So what trope is there? And trope is being mishandled, I think, mismanaged. here, but what trope is there where the black friend dies to save the white main character? Is that a thing? Like, did Danny Glover die for Mel Gibson? No, we thought Mel died, right? Because I'm trying to think back to older ones, which would be where the black friend dies, right? I don't know. We'll have to. I don't know. Let's let it go.
Y'all heard that, right? Y'all heard what he said? What an...
Is he got the gyno going on? The come after you? Because it kind of looks like they'll come after you.
Absolutely abysmal life this person must lead. He sees black people in roles that they shouldn't be in, and all of a sudden it's political, it's a bad thing, we have to analyze it. There's a reason why a black person is in a thing, you know, besides the fact that he just might be talented and he might be the perfect person for the role. He might even be the person that the director...
But we already know it's not all about talent. It's not a meritocracy in Hollywood necessarily. Some people go to Diddy parties. Some people go to the producer's trailer. Some people, you know, shoot their co-stars and stuff. Unfortunately. But we know it's not all based on who's the most talented. If that was the case, then, I mean, do we even need to go down the litany of people with no talent who are famous as hell, rich as hell? And even Josh Brolin, and I've heard other actors say it too, like, you could be the most talented person, but your career will go nowhere because you don't have the right connections. And you could be somebody with severely lacking talent, like this guy, and wind up making something, you know, and actually being given a great career in Hollywood. So, again, he'll argue from these points of views that are so obviously stupid. Like, because it's Swiss cheese. It's just, anyone can just, nope.
Perfect person for the role. He might even be the person that the director had in mind for the role. I mean, like when you look at Ryan Coogler's films, there's a reason why Michael B. Jordan is in like every film he makes. He has him in mind when he writes these characters. That is a thing. But for some reason, these people, it's always political. It's always, they're doing the reverse racism thing. I don't have any proof of that. That's just what I think. These people think that minority groups are pawns in a game against them. That's what they think.
This guy's saying the cast was bad. He liked the movie for the CG, and the story was abysmal. So he doesn't care about this white guy or this black guy. He's like, the cast wasn't working. Yeah.
No, dude. Like, oh my God. Like, do you think that I put images on the screen for a lot of people do, I think. I think a lot of people just think I put images on the screen for my fucking health.
Well, I have seen you put images on the screen that didn't help or solidify any of the points that you were making. And that you would go on to try to twist, even though we had videographic evidence of what was said by the image that you put on the screen. You would then go back and try to twist that into meaning something completely opposite of what was being said. I've personally witnessed you doing this, so I could see why people would think that you're doing it for your health, for the health of your channel, or the health of your audience, to keep them woke.
And to pass the time while I'm speaking. You know, that's not the reason this image is on the screen, numbnuts. Actually read it. I guess I needed to hold this guy's hand and highlight exactly what I'm showing. In the third paragraph of this image, you can clearly see it is woke. Why else do you think J.D. Washington gets a role? He's an incredibly poor actor. These are just false. And this was already seen in Tenet. He was bad in Tenet. I've seen it all now. That was the reason why this image is on the screen.
Remember, guys, just because you win an award does not mean anything. It does not mean that you are talented. I'm sorry. You can be very popular without being skilled or competent. So what's it say? It is woke. Why else do you think? Oh, see, so you were very much aware because it was already in this video. So you were very much aware of the fact that people thought that DEI was referring to J.D. Washington and not to the Asian actress. And you tailored and framed the argument in such a way as to not address J.D.'s participation in an Asian story, but instead to focus on the fact that the Asian actress was chosen because they're in Asia, disregarding the fact that they're choosing a black guy even though they're in Asia, and disregarding the fact that they already knew that he cast a black guy before they started shooting. So either they knew ahead of time what story they wanted in Asia and chose a black man to be the main lead, which sounds DEI, or they chose a black person and then decided to shoot or to set the story in Asia, why, who knows? I don't know.
Remember, guys, I'm saying that these people are repeating the things that the critical drinker says. And the things that the critical drinker says is, well, this woman or this black character or this whatever the fuck is here because of wokeness. And it's right there on the screen. It is woke. Why else do you think John David Washington gets a role? Because he's talented, dickhead. But that's his argument, is that it's woke. The movie is woke.
It's okay for you to have your subjective opinion on what's good or bad. But if anybody else does, then you say they're an idiot. What is he talking about? He can't act. Somebody gave him an award. Why would he think that he sucks? Because that's his opinion, motherfucker. It's okay to have a subjective opinion, is it not? At first, with him, everything's subjective, but then the minute that somebody disagrees with him, here we are.
The creator, remember, that's what we're talking about. That's the context. The creator is woke because there's a black main character. That's his argument. That's it. He thinks he was a bad actor in Tenet. And look at the justification. He is stoic, can deliver dialogues. He's literally arguing for John David. He doesn't even realize it. And then he starts arguing against him. Acts worse than a high schooler in a musical. And the only reason he's even in the industry might be because of DEI. No, he's in the industry because of fucking nepotism, which is a non-color thing. There are so many, Jack Quaid is in the industry because of Dennis Quaid. He hates his father, but he's a nepo baby. He's a white guy, right? So nepotism is not a colored thing. But Denzel Washington is a very, a prolific actor. He had a son who is an actor. You probably want to hire him because he probably taught his son the tricks of the trade. So he's a nepo baby. I'll give you that. But he might be in the industry because of DEI is a ridiculous fucking take, and exactly the thing that I'm arguing against, and exactly what that fucking weirdo with the accent that I can't place said earlier. That's the fucking point of this.
So it doesn't really matter what the problem is.
So basically he has no point. No point at all. It's just rambling, just to ramble so that he can skip through all their arguments, straw man which ones he wants, and just keep saying, let's move on.
Pops in your face, go, this does not feel good, or this does not feel right. Why is that?
If a black person appearing on screen does not feel good or feel right for you, you're probably a racist. I don't like the word because, like I said, there's no such thing as race, or there is a human.
So when a black person comes on the screen in chains, or is about to get his dick cut off in Django Unchained, or any other terrible ass things that are about to happen. If you don't think that that's cool, if you don't like that, then you're racist against black people. This is the kind of fucking argumentation where you should be very specific about the words that you're using, because an asshole like me might hear what you're saying and be like, you weren't very specific. You should have been way more specific, especially if you're trying to nitpick other people's opinions. Yours better be fucking tight.
Race, right? But like, it's the best word that we have. And there, I don't like the word because, like I said, there's no such thing as race, or there is a human race, right? But like, it's the best word that we have, and that's what I'm going to use. Yeah, you're probably just a racist. It doesn't feel right that this guy's on screen. What the fuck does that even mean? You think you can do a better job because you're white? What?
And you list all these reasons, and part of that is, you have this diverse cast for no reason.
You have this diverse cast.
Yeah, for no reason. If it's all set in Asian countries, then you don't need a diverse cast. Unless it's diversely Asian. So from all the different Asian countries that you're shooting in, that would make sense. You know? It's not that you can't write stories about foreigners living in a land, you know, being native in a foreign land, at least foreign for them by virtue of their ethnicity or whatever. But if you're going to talk about DEI, then you have to be honest about when things are out of place, because that's why he's saying it's out of place, not because he hates black people, but because they're in Asia and there's not as many black people in Asia as there are Asian people. So it just seems out of place. Just like I would feel when I'm in Tokyo and my 6'4", 240-pound ass is walking around there looking like Godzilla. Okay? I would feel out of place. Not just because of skin tone, but because of my culture and the way I was raised, and also just my height and weight and my look beyond that. So, for some reason, though, he wants to be a victim so badly to call everyone racist so that he can say whatever and not be held accountable or whatever.
That's for no reason. Oh my God, dude. How can I make it through this video? Like, this is going to be insane. You have this diverse cast for no reason. For no reason. Okay, even if you want to say that DEI is a thing, that like they use DEI in film, they hiring for films, that would be a reason, dipshit. It's not a reason that you like, but it is a reason. First of all. Second of all, that's not how acting works. I'm an actor, okay? I do voice acting. I get innumerable amount of auditions. I'm not chosen all the time. They can't see me. When you do an audition for a voice role, it's 100% an audio file. I get hired for some, I don't get hired for all. Being in the industry, you see a very different side than the people who are not in this industry. And if you're not in this industry, you don't know how insane it is, the amount of people applying for a job. Unless a role is written specifically for a particular actor, they had to audition. Like, you will see like some of the greatest actors of all time get passed over because they just didn't audition well, or they auditioned well, but like another person fit the role better. I have a unique insight into this because I actually do this. And
have you gotten any roles? I'm sure he would have said it if he did. Instead of just say, I'm an actor, I'm a voice actor. He'll toot his own horn however he can, which tells me he would say if he was working on something, or what he had already done, what movie he was in. But unfortunately, unfortunately, I've probably been on TV more than him. A random nobody. That's funny.
You know, I put out. I can't show you because of NDAs, but like, if I showed you some of my auditions, you'd be like, "Wow, why the fuck didn't they hire him for this?" Because somebody was just better.
NDAs. Ain't no way you audition and you don't get chosen, and you can't say that you auditioned for a role. Damn sure not completely after it's been finished and it came out. That wouldn't make any fucking sense, because it wouldn't affect anything. Where are we at here? Got 11 minutes left on that bitch. All right, let's let him talk himself. And keep twisting that knot up around that noose. We'll see where he goes with it.
Or somebody just fit the role better. Or somebody just, like, you know, they sounded a certain way that this person wanted. That's how it works. And there's so many talented human beings on this planet. So many. And you have to go up against every single one of them for that.
Yeah. And it must be really hard when you're not one of those talented people to compete against people with real talent. Let alone if they still have a soul in their body.
One role. That's how auditioning for a role works. They're not just hiring people because, oh yeah, we got to have a fat girl, we got to have a black man, we got to have a gay person. Like, that's not how that works. It's just not. I could show you, like, let me pull up my Actors Access. All right, so here's my Actors Access. This is breakdown services. This is what you see as an actor. You get like the breakdowns for these. So I'm going to show you, this is just in LA, right, where I live. And I'm going to show you exactly what a breakdown looks like, okay? So like, this is just like a random one that I clicked on.
Does anybody remember why this in any way, shape, or form relates to the arguments that Smudboy and the gang were talking about? I feel as though, just like he chastised another creator for earlier, he's going on a wild ass tangent for seemingly no reason other than to toot his own horn and try to convince people that he's an actor or an actress. It's working about as well as your arguments. Not at all.
It says right here, Dr. Bob. So this is the role that they're casting for. Hopefully my camera's not in the way. It says Dr. Bob, 50 to 60-year-old white man. If you're not in that age range, if you're not white, if you're not a man, don't apply to this role, basically. Okay?
That's not what that means. I guarantee you. They want you to give it a voice that sounds like the character. Who's the character? Dr. Bob. How old is he? He's 50 to 60 years old. He's white. He's a male. He's a surgeon and a simple man from Akron, Ohio. The voice of reason. Dr. Bob was a co-founder of Alcoholics Anonymous. All of these things are things that they want you to keep in mind when you want to add to the voice. You're adding layers to your voice, to the act that you're going to do. Ain't no way that you're just not applying for these jobs because it tells you that the character is a white male. You can just get the fuck out of there with that.
Then you have one right here, 38 to 45 years old, white woman. 1930s classic look. Obviously, this looks like a period piece. Doesn't give us any more information other than that.
Oh, sorry. Unless this was for actual acting. I thought it was for voice acting. But yeah, you're going to cast for... Who the fuck... I don't know what his fucking argument is right now. It's just, I'm going to just show you some shit. I have no coherent argumentation as to what I'm reacting to. It's a 2-hour video, but I'm going to just talk to you for 35 minutes straight about nothing that has to do with anything that's in the video. And I'm just going to go off on tangent after tangent.
Right. This is a non-union project, obviously, because they're only paying $15. This is yeah, I wouldn't apply to this. Well, first of all, I don't fit the demographic that they're asking for, but you get my point, right? Like they show you what they're looking for. And then right here, woman, it says woman, 30 to 50 years old, all ethnicities. So this is how a breakdown works. They will say what they're looking for. And then people who fit that look will apply for that. And then there you go. Let me show you another one just to prove the point. Here's another one. It's a horror feature film. This one is $50 a day. This is a non-union. So like,
again, please, if you can, describe what point he's trying to make. Please, because I don't think he's going to. He's just going to move on.
Whenever you see like non-union stuff right here, it'll typically be lower paid than like the union work, right? But this website does have union work as well. So I'm just clicking random ones. So this one's $50 a day, blah, blah, blah. Right here, the role is for Bobby, and they're asking for male, white, 18 plus to play someone between the ages of 15 and 22. You must be 18. Height should be 4'11 through 5'4. And then they describe the character even more. This is what a breakdown actually looks like. For those of you not in the industry, this is what the industry actually looks like, guys. It's not, oh, we're having a diversity quota. We need to.
Dude, you're the lowest of the low. Things work different at different levels. You know that. Everything's subjective, right? So you can't act like your experience is representative of everybody, or that's how all companies do shit in the industry. Get the fuck out of here. You're a nobody, so you don't even have an agent, so you've got to go through all this shit. Talented people don't go through all this. At most, they'll get a call and have to go do an interview, or their agent will get a call. Why are you assuming that this means anything for what companies do as a whole in the industry? This is for bullshit shows, bullshit movies, bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sorry, but it is. Let's keep giving him more rope, I think it is, up around his throat at this point, though.
Have people that fit this type, fit that type, fit that type. No, they look for very specific things. Very specific. I'll show you another one. And this one is important to me because this is a voiceover role, which is my bread and butter, right? So this is for an English voiceover for a mobile story game, right? No motion cap required, only voiceover localization. Look at the difference between what I just showed you and this one right here. They're looking for Argentinian actors. Obviously, they're looking for someone with the ability to speak Spanish and have the Argentinian Spanish accent. But boom, all genders, all ethnicities. Why? Because it's a voice acting role. You're not going to appear on screen. They don't care what you look like. They only care what you sound like. There you go. That's how this works. You don't know what you're talking about. You really need to stop. So that was up to the point that I had seen in the video. We're now at the point where I don't know anything. Like this was where I stopped on Twitter. So all of this will be new to me. So let's get to it.
This is the exact sentiment Will Jordan teaches people to look for in his videos, and that's why his comments on the girl being the key to everything stands out. So when these media grifters express ideas like go woke, go broke, you can bet these ideas will take root and become
It's not an idea, it's an...
The fuck is he rubbing on his lips? Why are you heavily editing the video but you don't edit that out? It's just, I don't know. Strange choice, I suppose. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and start that back over, boy. Shit.
Before he says it's not an idea, I want to point out that I show parrots on the screen here, and they still didn't get that I was referring to the birds, the parrots. You know, there's a reason.
How long ago was that in the video? We don't know, because you've just been jumping all the fuck around.
Reason I call these people parrots, and if you don't know, I explained it in an earlier video, but basically it's a term that I coined, let's say that.
This fucking idiot, bro. This fucking idiot. He's saying that he's coined the term that someone parroting someone else. That he coined it? Repeating what someone else says. Oh, is he just gonna say a grifter says or a media? But he gonna add some extra verbiage to make it seem like he actually created something when he ain't got a fucking speck of creativity.
Now, because I've already done this. Explained it in an earlier video, but basically it's a term that I coined. Let's say that now, because I've already done this. To refer to these kinds of people, not people that just parrot, things. That's not like somebody tried to argue against me. They were like, "You're not coining that term. We've been using parrots like this for." No, you haven't. Okay. Because my version of the word parrot, it's a proper noun. It's the capital P. Okay. It's referring.
He's slowing down the progress of anyone who listens to him. As a human being, what do you call that? If you're slowing down the progress of something. I know there's a word. Maybe the audience will be able to guess what it is.
Referring very specifically to people who parrot the actual term that you've been using forever. Grifter talking points, specifically for people who parrot grifter talking points, like these motherfuckers. These are parrots, baby grifters, if you will. You want to, that's what I mean.
I called it. Oh God, that's not coining anything. That's trying to redefine something. I don't understand. Now it's a proper noun because I capitalized that motherfucker. Some sad shit, ain't it? Oh well, I'm sure he'll have an argument in here somewhere. I'd imagine. We only got an hour and 30 to go.
Wannabe grifters, especially people who have a platform and are making videos on these types of topics. That's what I'm talking about. Baby grifters, parrots. That's why I'm showing parrots on the screen.
An observation of a pattern. We've seen it for over a decade.
Here's another stupid fucking colloquialism: pattern recognition. These people think they're the only people that notice patterns.
I don't want to be such a stickler, but pattern recognition is not a colloquialism. A colloquialism, if I'm not mistaken, is a local metaphor, like an idiom. No, an idiom is a colloquial metaphor. But what exactly is a colloquialism? I thought that was a slang term based on locale. So pattern recognition wouldn't fall into that. It's actually like a scientific term, which would mean the same thing translated into any language in any local area. Unless he's going to try to redefine what pattern recognition means into a colloquialism, his own colloquialism, and coin a new. He probably will.
Well, we're noticing patterns about you. Hence the parrots on the screen right now.
You can't call that an opinion because it's observed fact.
Ooh. Yeah, that's not how facts work, buddy. First of all, pattern recognition is something that is ingrained into the human DNA. It's a biological thing. This is why people
Wait, I thought it was a colloquialism.
will see like Jesus's face in a piece of toast. Like you're biologically predisposed to seeing patterns, especially patterns that aren't there. Again, like the guy earlier said that, you know, seeing John David Washington means that this was DI or it is woke because this black guy's in a thing. No. See, that's the pattern recognition that you're talking about right now, right? But he's wrong because he was the first actor hired, which means he very clearly was at the top of the list, or he auditioned extremely well. Like that's the point. Is like he wasn't hired because of DEI. He wasn't hired because of diversity quotas or whatever the fuck you guys want to say. He was hired because he's good. He was hired because that's who they wanted. So your pattern recognition just failed, meaning it's not an observable fact.
You know the pattern, so you know that. So one of these patterns is when you go woke, you will go broke.
Oof. And you know, that's really the focus of this video. I'm glad he said that right before watching this video.
He forgot what the focus of the damn video was.
Because I clearly disproved that. Remember, he said it's an observable fact. That's what he said.
And he was correct. Just because they wanted to follow the DEI initiative, and that's why they hired him first, doesn't mean that they didn't follow the DEI initiative.
He said. So this means that they believe when something goes quote unquote woke, that it does go broke. But when I show evidence of things not going broke, then that means your observable fact is only true sometimes, right? But like that's not the quote. It's not go woke, go broke sometimes. It's a cute saying.
Well, if you say always or never, you're gonna most likely be wrong. So if they were to be saying, if you go woke, you always go broke, they would of course be wrong. Disney has more than enough money to continue making bullshit for the next 60 years, regardless of what anyone else wants to do.
But it just doesn't map onto reality, and I show evidence against this. And I'm actually looking at the chat. You can't see it. Let me take away my camera for just a quick second. So right there, it says the Bridman will probably make a response to this. Guy has a very fragile ego. I wonder why it's.
He does, in fact. Who the hell would come on and do 2 hours of this bullshit 3 months after the fact? And it's coming screaming and hollering like they're still hot about it. Fragile.
Why they always say ego when I respond to you? Like, am I not allowed to respond? Like, okay, I'm arguing against something these people believe. They responded to me. Does that mean that they have a fragile ego? Why is it only Big Bad Birdman, you know, when I do a thing that these people are doing to me? That's just, I never get that. That's just a little thing. But yeah, it's something I see over and over. The guy has a fragile ego. Actually, I really don't. I let a lot of shit slide, dude. Like a lot of shit. There's just sometimes I feel compelled to respond to certain things.
3 months after the fact, for some reason.
Maybe not immediately, but you will make less profit and eventually your business will shut down.
Oh, it's almost like you shouldn't have paused it and talked over him. You should have let him finish his point, the same thing you've been complaining about this entire video.
Because you will not make profit.
All right, look, I know in the video I make this point, but Apple, biggest company on earth, completely and utterly a DEI thing, right? They don't they have the quote unquote diversity quotas that you guys say is detrimental to a company's business? Why hasn't Apple gone broke? Apple's very clearly woke, very fucking clearly. It's right here. This is the I in.
Maybe because half the world uses iPhones, so it would take them quite a while to run out of money. Fucking idiot.
D in DEI, inclusion and diversity. We belong together. We're continuing to create a culture of inclusion, increasing representation across teams, and holding ourselves accountable at every level because belonging takes all of us. Let's scroll down. Inclusion that reflects the world around us. They're clearly talking about gender here. They're making sure they have the diversity quotas. They have enough females to the male ratio, right? Let's look at the AMR. The APAC, the EMEIA, look at those numbers. Race and ethnicity. They're making sure that they have the diversity. You got 9.2% Black, 14% Hispanic, 30% Asian. Representation makes a world of difference. Obviously, Apple is woke, okay? Somehow, though, Apple remains the number one company on earth. Explain it. Explain that.
It's a bad product because what is woke? Woke is so.
Oh God. Oh God. I don't listen. As a Black American, I take offense to someone with an accent like yours trying to.
He's racist.
Explain woke. You don't know what woke means. You really need to shut the absolute fuck up. You don't know what it means. And again, this word is so broadly defined by you people. It has no actual real definition from you. It's very nebulous. Woke means to be aware. Of course it does, because that's what the word woke means. Dude, what's the opposite of being woke? Sleep. Sleep. When you're asleep, you're not aware of your surroundings because you're asleep. And actually, I'm surprised this hasn't caught on. Black people also say sleep in the same connotation as woke, or the opposite connotation of woke. There are a few of these, and I'm just giving y'all a game right now, right? There's a few of these. Kanye West in a song said, "Nigga, you ain't up on this."
Then I spent $400 on this just to be like, nigga, you ain't up on this.
Ain't up on this. Probably don't know what the fuck I just said. We understand. It's the same thing as being woke. If you're up on something, it means you're woke. You understand it. You got it. You're aware. And in that same connotation, when you say you ain't up on this, we'll say, oh, bro, you sleep. You sleep. That's what it means. It's woke. Like it's literally a corruption of awake, the opposite of sleep, which means to be aware. And in the context that Black people used it, it was to be aware of like racial injustices, be aware of like the CIA coming in and fucking up our community. That's the context in which we used it. Somehow you guys took it and bastardized it. And you're about to say something.
You should speak for yourself.
Something completely different to what the fuck I just said. Guaranteed. Let's take a listen.
Because what is woke? Woke is socialist propaganda.
Woke is socialist propaganda. Propaganda. Notice how it like.
Yes. Not all propaganda is evil, but socialist propaganda is.
What does the word sleep mean? You know, your body goes unconscious, goes into a state of repairing the muscles and things like that. That's what sleep is for. In that particular instance, you're not aware. You're not aware of your surroundings. People could do things to you you wouldn't know. Woke means you're not asleep. You are aware of what people are doing to you. You're aware of what's going on.
Just being intentionally obtuse.
And by the way, when the Black Panthers were using woke, it was very real. COINTELPRO is a real thing. They did infiltrate and assassinate Black leaders.
They probably infiltrated the movement and started calling things woke so that people like you could COINTELPRO your way on through life.
They did do that. Like, that's public record now. So when they were saying woke, they were aware of these things. And it was true. It wasn't a conspiracy theory. It was real. So for you to say that this is socialist propaganda is insane to me. It's insane to me. That's what I'm saying.
You're talking about. He was talking about, well, what does woke mean now? Not what did it mean 70 years ago. What the hell is... Oh yeah, I forgot. It's Birdman. Duh. It's going to be bad faith all the way through.
You specifically pissed me off. You.
I guess the 60s or 70s with the concept of social justice and then how that evolved over time until the...
Although the entire term social justice is really just a euphemism for socialism.
It's a euphemism for socialism. I don't want to get into politics here, because I couldn't care less about political arguments. But this guy just doesn't know what he's talking about. Okay, social justice is the advocation for people who are
no, just shut your mouth. You don't know anything.
Aligned in society. That's it. That's what it means. That's it. Like what? When you boil this shit down to the way,
if what he was saying was true, that would just be called justice. You wouldn't need to put a qualifier in front of the word justice. Justice says everything you need to say.
That he's trying to do here. You're essentially saying that there is no racism, there is no sexism, there is no homophobia and transphobia and things like that. That's what you're saying. To say what you just said is saying that there was no racism, there is no racism. Like that's just blatantly false.
That's a very nice straw man that you've built there. Oh, why would you destroy the straw man that you built like that? Oh, you're saying it's his argument. I see.
Like aren't you guys arguing that there's racism against white people? Guess what, motherfucker? You're woke. That's what it means. To be aware.
Actually, that would be considered based these days. Thank you.
Of injustices to people like you. That's what the word means. You're woke. Congratulations. You are exactly what you hate. Dumbass.
There's a lot.
Because if you put a modifier, if you put a mutator in front of the word justice, it's not justice anymore. It's a corruption of justice immediately.
I don't know about that. I mean, like, I that's something I would have to ponder for a second. I'm pretty sure I can think of examples where that just is just aggressively fucking wrong. No, I mean,
at least he stopped for a second and thought that maybe he should ponder it for a second. But now I'm sure he's gonna just bulldoze right ahead.
An adjective describes something, to be more specific. I'm pretty sure there are many. I can't think of any off the top of my head right now. I'm kind of amped at this video, but
3 months after the fact, you're amped still.
I'm pretty sure there are going to be people in the comment section that give us more examples. Again, it's just an adjective, and an adjective is meant to be. It's meant to provide specificity. Okay, to be specific, right? Like, I'm a human. Well, what kind of human am I? I'm an American. Well, what kind of American am I? I'm a Black American. Oh, you see how you get more specific the more adjectives you add? That's all that is.
Yeah, the difference is justice doesn't need those. Justice by itself is just fine. You don't need to be any more specific when you say you want justice for someone or for people. You don't need to say, I want social justice for those people.
So to suggest that putting an adjective in front of the word justice is a corruption of justice is just blatantly fucking smooth brain. Dude, your brain is so fucking smooth. They can fucking ice skate on that thing. Like, Jesus Christ.
There's a lot of things happening since the 2009s. I'm trying to remember the exact moment where we were like, okay, this is noticeable, at least in Canada. And then we had progressivism take off and with the liberals, and that's been that way for almost a decade now. So,
no, I'm sorry, son. Progressivism has always been a thing. It's always been a thing. I'm not even like a political channel, right? Like, I don't talk politics. I'm not into that whole thing. I like talking about film. I like talking about fiction. Like, that's where I lay my hat.
He lays his hat on things that don't matter.
But it's clear to me that I know more about politics than these guys do. He just said progressivism took over in the last decade in Canada. First of all, no, the fuck it didn't. If you ever advocated for any type of social change, that's progressivism. Progress. You think progress only started 10 years ago? What are you... Just it's insane. Abraham Lincoln advocated for the freedom of slaves here in America. That was progressive. That's progressive. That's older than you, your mom, your grandma, her grandma. Like, that was progressive way back then. It wasn't just 10 years. Like, I would be on a whole ass spiel if I responded to every fucking thing these guys say, because they are so incredibly wrong. It's not even funny.
2009 in Germany, I'd say the time.
He's German. That's the accent. I could not place that accent to save my life. Jesus. All right. German dude.
When you were within politics, active within politics, 2009 would be the time when you'd start to notice it. Outside of politics, it's more like 2011 to 13.
See, this is, what a privilege to be white. To just not have to engage with like social progress. Like, you know what I mean? These motherfuckers believe, they actually believe progress started in 2009 and 2011.
Another lovely straw man you've built. They're talking about progressive politics making their way into media. You know, what you're critiquing. Look at it. Look at it. It's so sad.
2013. Are you fucking kidding me, dude? My people have been fighting for progressive ideals since slavery.
And you might want to remember that white people have been fighting too, and that not all of them are racist. Because you seem to act like if you're not black, then you're racist, which is racist. Fucking bum.
Harriet Tubman freed some slaves, right? She was a progressive. Like, that's what that means. Again, this is all stuff older than all of us. Like, if you combined all of our ages, it would be older than that. When you're forced to engage with something, like, you think that's when it started. It's like, no. Women were fighting for the right to vote. First wave of feminism. That was progressive. What year?
Only about 8 to 10% of women were doing that. The rest didn't want it.
Or do you think that was? Because it damn the fuck sure wasn't 2009.
Yeah, I think that would you remember like the Twitter stuff.
Oh my God. Can we just get to my video, please? I don't want to do politics. Come on, man.
Let's examine the veracity.
Uh-oh.
Finally, after fucking 5 minutes.
Really, motherfucker? Look at Charles' video. Look at Charles. We are literally 45 fucking minutes in. And you're just now getting to the meat of the video. And you want to say after 5? Are you kidding me?
With the game that isn't out, that a whole nation.
Bro, you're 58 minutes into this video and you've done nothing. Nothing.
Despise this.
Ooh, you're just wrong. I love this. Like, this is my area. Japan. I know that sounds weird coming from a Black American that these people don't know, right? But those of you who watch me, y'all know this is my area. I've been to Japan many times. I know a lot about Japan. I study Japanese culture. I even speak the fucking language. Trust me when I say Japanese people don't give a flying fuck about this game. The vast majority of them don't even know it exists. Those who do are interested in it.
Now, if anybody tried to fucking speak for all the black people as a Japanese person, he'd call them racist immediately. But here, he will go and try to speak for all Japanese people because he's been to Japan. He doesn't speak the language, so there's no way he even spoke to anybody, but he knows better than they do.
Because in this video, I show in Japan, this game was the #1 pre-ordered video game in Japan. I had multiple sources on that. So I love this. This German dude thinks he knows anything about Japan. I promise you he doesn't.
Can you imagine?
United China, Japan, and...
United China? What does China have to do with this? And it united China and Japan against this game? No, it didn't. Okay? Because what happened is it's a bunch of you fucking trolls that are pretending to be Japanese on Twitter. And you're using Google Translate to,
Again, no. Imagine that they did an Assassin's Creed Ethiopia and the main character was a white dude. How would you feel about that? Would it make sense?
Bash the game. That got exposed. And I obviously speak Japanese and I can read and write Japanese. And I know when someone is using...
Nigga, you can barely speak English. Please, shut up.
Using Google Translate, because you got, there's a very specific way of speaking that Japanese people do, online, in person, whatever, that is not represented by Google Translate. Now, there is a translator that is very natural. I'm not going to tell you which one it is, though. You're going to have to figure that out for yourself. Because I don't want to give you guys the ability to become trolls and to look like real trolls or to look like real people on Twitter. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna gatekeep here. But anyway, yeah, no, this is not a thing. This is not real. Just you have to trust me on that, bro.
Yeah, just trust you, bro. You're gatekeeping, but we should trust you, bro. All right.
Oh no, not
This
German.
could potentially be one of the most important get woke, go broke situations we have seen. So we are talking about Colin Kaepernick and Nike. Nike just revealed that he is the face of its Just Do It campaign. If that is not a social justice, political pandering move,
Dude, Nike now makes hijabs with the
This guy really does not like Muslims. He called that guy Muslim earlier, even though he was Indian, and he's like,
he said Arab, not Muslim. Get your fucking shit straight.
Nike makes hijabs. So
And yeah, that's catering to a bunch of people who follow an Epsteinian figure.
And they're in the business to make money. Muslims have money. Why not, do something for their religion that would help you make money?
Really?
The little tick on it,
Oh,
which
yeah?
is funny because Nike or Nike is a Greek goddess, so that would mean that the Islamic women who put on that oppressive headdress were a symbol of another god. That is so haram, you couldn't make it.
First of all, Nike is an American company. And I know the Brits like to call it Nike, which is very weird to me. I'm like, the first time I heard Nike, I was like, what the fuck did you just say? Anyway, Nike does not have any symbolism of the Greek goddess anymore, or ever. Like there's no symbol. The Nike check is not a Greek goddess symbol. Nike has a hijab. That's haram because, like, in the past, the word Nike meant a Greek goddess. Like, shut the fuck up, you fucking idiot.
Okay, not marketing, but yeah.
Yeah, well,
I guess this motherfucker just forgot they make shoes. Like that's how they started out. They started making running shoes. Hello, you think Muslims don't wear Nikes?
What's a demographic that steals Nike shoes constantly? It's usually the people that vote for the woke stuff.
Yeah,
He's very clearly demonstrating that he's a racist. This would have been one of the Hitler Youth, You
would have been one of the Hitler Youth too. You just listen to whatever the fuck the government says, so you would have been marching in line talking about, y'all need to get back in line. So just shut the fuck up. You're just saying that because he's German. Actually, what he's actually saying is anti-establishment. The establishment doesn't like it if you say that these days. So if he's anti-establishment and the establishment was Nazism, then he would be anti-Nazism. If the establishment here today in your country in LA was Nazism, you'd be a Nazi. We can tell. You don't even have any good rationale for saying the things that you say, you just say it. Kind of like a grifter.
This German guy, if he was born in the 1920s or the 1910s, he'd have definitely been one of the Hitler Youth.
It's just a disgusting fucking thing to say about somebody you don't know anything about, especially when they didn't say anything that would even resemble Nazism.
I can't believe it. I don't know what they're thinking. It's hilarious, and it's also
How is he a
like
clown?
face palming at the same time.
In
That's
a
his
previous
opinion.
video, try listening.
He just puts clown on anybody that's saying something that he doesn't agree with. And that's his excuse or his replacement for an argument. Instead of having an argument against what they're saying, because that actually takes creativity, it takes like forethought, it takes time to research it. He doesn't have time for that. He's too busy failing to be an actor and failing to be a voice actor. So this is what he does instead. He'll put a crappily fucking edited clown face over you, as opposed to engaging with your argument.
Fucking idiot. How is he a clown? Maybe I'm going to make that point. Maybe I'm going to explain it. How about that, dipshit?
I did what grifters and parrots could not do and correctly define the word woke. In short, it is Black American slang that means to be socially conscious and aware.
Yeah, that is still the same thing. It's just that it's spread further out.
Yeah, that's like 100 years ago.
It will never not be the funniest of ironies that the people who
He's used the N-word, but he can't understand how words change over time and how what it means now isn't what it meant then. He's not too bright.
obviously don't want to call trans women women. They'll be very rigid. They're like, woman doesn't mean that word. Don't want to call trans women women.
Yeah, we don't like it when people randomly decide to change the definitions and redefine what words mean.
They'll be very rigid. They're like, woman doesn't mean that word. And then when presented with the very same thing, oh, well, the word woke has changed meaning.
Yeah, because we're being asked how we use the word woman, or if we will use woman to describe a trans woman. But right now, what they're doing is describing what other people are when they're using these words woke to describe themselves. But okay.
Yeah, so did the word woman, guys. You don't like that one though. You don't like that.
Yeah, but it is the same thing. It was the same ideological garbage with the same talking points. Like look here. The second sentence has the word racial injustice, which leads to racial justice.
That says beginning in the 2010s, it came to be used as slang for a broader awareness of social inequalities, such as racial injustice, right? This is how white people started using it. We never used it for that.
That's exactly how you've been using it. You can go back to it being awake and blah, 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 but that's definitely not what you're talking about when you say go woke. Because that's not even what people said. People would say, I woke up. And that was in the truther community, not the black community. It's motherfucking all over the place.
Remember, this is our word. Read the first fucking thing right there. Woke is an adjective derived from African American vernacular English.
No, I'm pretty sure it's derived from the name or from the word awoken or awaken or woke up. It's an actual word already, you fucking slimy ass piece of shit.
Originally meaning alertness to racial prejudice and discrimination. In the 2010s, you guys took it and bastardized it. That's what this article is saying. Go down a little bit further. The phrase stay woke has been present in AAVE since the 1930s. It's actually a little older than that. But let's go with the 1930s. 1930s. Now, we're about 5 years away from 2030. Are any of you close to 100 years old? No? That means this word predates you. It has been used for almost 100 years in a particular context, and you guys took it and bastardized it. That's the point here. I'm showing this because I'm correctly defining the word. I'm going to then later talk about how you guys use the word.
So which would be the correction. And racial justice.
For somebody who claims that race doesn't exist, he really likes to blame white people for everything, doesn't he?
Is race socialism. Why?
Race socialism.
Because if you ask any any German to translate racial justice.
No one cares what Germans think because this word is an American colloquialism. So who gives a shit what you think? Skip.
Their word games need to end. The only way we can turn the tide is...
He's just a trash person, isn't he? Yeah, unfortunately.
by destroying their newspeak, by insisting on the real definitions. You need to take the language back, otherwise...
Motherfucker, you're German. What are you talking about? Do you know that English is an offshoot of the Germanic languages? Did you know that? Basically what you're saying is we need to abolish English because it comes from the same group of family of languages that your language comes from. Black people have a culture, right? We had to develop it because we were...
That's another lovely man of straw you've made in place of his argument.
Forced here. My ancestors were forced here against their will. That's how culture happens, dude. You have enclaves of similar people, and they start to speak similarly. They start to have similar foods. They start like do certain things. That's culture. It's not race. I mean,
but if somebody says that black people commit more crimes than white people because of the culture that they're in, you say that's racist. Huh.
Because black Americans are very different from black Africans. Like a Nigerian person is very different than a black American, who are also very different to a black Ethiopian, who is different still to a black Moroccan. It's culture. This is culture. Language is culture. We have our own version of English. And you guys steal words from our version of English and then bastardize them and then try to say stupid shit like, oh, this is TikTok talk. Get the fuck out of here. It's our words. But that's fine. You want to have your TikTok?
I think what you're saying is that black people bastardize the original words of English, and now you're mad because someone else bastardized your bastardized American English. You can't really stay on point because you have no point. All you have is an ideology that's telling you should be upset with these people who disagree with you. Because you're the arbiter on what's moral and just and all that.
Talk, make up new words. Maybe derive it from ours, but don't say words like woke, sus, cis, not CIS, SIS. That's black woman slang. They say shit like that. And y'all take the shit and then say, oh, it's TikTok talk. This is, no, miss me with that.
Or meaning that is related, but for the sake of brevity, that is the...
So basically he wants segregation in every single way, including language. Because if white people are around black people, then they would naturally pick up some of the mannerisms or the speaking. So he must want all the races to be segregated to the point that they have their own distinct and completely distinct, because otherwise it's some other race bastardizing the black language that's just so sacred. It's fucking an interesting perspective.
The actual definition of woke. This of course means that if what those people on Reddit said were true,
that's not even...
I love the German is trying to fucking tell the black American about black American English. I love that. That's amazing. No. No. Yes, motherfucker. Yes. That's our people on Reddit said were true.
That's not even.
I love the German is trying to fucking tell the Black American about Black American English. I love that. That's amazing. No. Yes, motherfucker. Yes. That's our word. We created that. It's a corruption of the word awake. Woke. Get it? Stop trying to tell me about our language, my dude. You're not even American. What the fuck? Like, what are we doing here? That's like me trying to correct a Japanese person on Japanese. It's just not gonna work. They know it better than I do. That's their culture. They came up with it. You dig what I'm saying? This just doesn't make sense. This guy trying to tell me what the fuck the word woke means. It's insane. Obviously, this is not the way in which parrots and grifters use this term, and as they are incredibly shy about defining the word as they themselves are using it.
Well, we've been defining it for a long time.
And some of these
Like
people are
Kanye
grifting because they use the word without defining it. Is that what they?
Holy fuck, Smud, shut up, dude. Just shut up and let the video play. God damn. Like, has he not learned so far that there are going to be things that I say and then I explain or prove those things? Has he not learned that yet?
What if it's just their opinion?
Yeah, you need to prove that they're dishonest about their opinions.
Yeah, and what are they?
You can't just claim it because you don't like their opinion.
And what?
Yeah, and I do that, guys. I'm not entirely sure if this is their first video on me because, like earlier, they mentioned,
I'm done spending an obscene amount of money on takeout every week. Done.
I'm getting back on track with Factor. Fresh, never frozen meals prepared by chefs.
Why does Birdman move from doing CinemaSins videos to this? It's like, you have to know something about me, right?
What are they selling? Like this is the thing. If it's AdSense, well, you've got the same problem there, buddy. Everyone on YouTube is using AdSense if they want to. Is that it? Because I don't care what you put through that air through that hole in your mouth. If you're all saying stuff, we're all making money. What's the difference?
Yeah, it's become clear to me that like my first video in the series should have been the one where I defined the word grift, because I stupidly assumed we all knew what we were talking about. You know, people have been using grifters to refer to these people for a very long time. I didn't start this. You know, I think the Amazing Atheist called the Critical Drinker a grifter years ago. You know, the Amazing Atheist had a problem with the Critical Drinker a while ago. He actually has videos with an S on this guy. To me, it's like, if I say the word tsunami, right? We all know what that means. Tsunami. You know, hey, there's a tsunami coming. Get the fuck out the way. Like, you know what that word means. So I don't feel like I have to define the word tsunami because I feel like we all know what it means. So that's how I felt about the word grifter. I was like, you know, we've been calling these people grifters for years. So I assumed everybody knew what we were talking about. Apparently not. But what I don't like about what Smud is doing here is he's not even giving me the space to explain myself. Again, pausing before I can finish. Like, let a thought come out first before you interject. That would be the best way to go about this.
Are you lying? Okay. Are you selling something? If they're not selling anything and you're not selling anything, where's the grift?
They are selling something, you numpty. What they are selling is outrage. Again, I provide examples that you won't even let me get to, but an example of a media grifter is somebody who looks at other people and go, okay, well, they're talking about, wokeness in video games and movies and stuff like that. And they're getting a lot of views. They're making a lot of money. So let me try to get in on that. And what they'll do is they'll start making the same types of videos with the same types of thumbnails, and their entire personality online, will be this thing. So like you
kind of like when somebody comes up with an original idea like CinemaSins. And then somebody comes along and just decides, oh, that's working. I think I'll do that for the next foreseeable decade or so.
go to their Twitter, and every fucking tweet, like they're not tweeting about their day, you know, they're not tweeting about the latest film that they saw. Like, oh, you know, here's the things I like about this movie. They're tweeting, well, look at what Anita Sarkeesian said. Look at this woke propaganda in this thing. Here we go again. Ugly female character in a game. There's a fat black woman in the Minecraft movie. Like, that's what I'm talking about. They're selling outrage. Everything they post is an attempt to get people mad about something. And because they're the ones pointing it out, well, now you have to come to me. You have to come to me to get that news, to get that information that you're mad about. Yeah, come to me. I will tell you the truth. So then they click on your videos, and then you start earning money, and you start getting influence, and you start getting power. That's a media grifter. That's what they do. But I provide examples of that. I give examples. Just let me get to it.
This is an inference. This is not after the fact. This is before. So if they call it and it happens, then they're right. If they call it and it doesn't happen, then they're wrong. But who cares?
What do you mean, who cares? That's the fucking thesis of the video, my dude. Is to disprove the notion that something, quote unquote, going woke does not mean it's going to go broke. That I'm debunking the saying. Like, what do you mean? Who cares? That's the fucking video you clicked on. That's like saying, you know, a guy made a video essay on Resident Evil, the Resident Evil movie series, right? And then he goes, well, who cares about Resident Evil? That's what you clicked on. You clicked on that specifically for that. That's what it is. That's what this video is. What do you mean, who cares? If they say something it got woke and it didn't go broke, that disproves the notion.
Do you think you have what it takes to make like it never even happened happen? Then you belong at the #1 brand in property restoration. Woo!
That's just their opinion. If it's after the fact and they go, oh, look, there's all these elements in the story that don't belong, and you call it being woke, then what's the problem?
What? That's not even a question. But, okay, do you hear what he just said? He said, if after the fact they call something woke and they're pointing out things that they didn't like or whatever, then what's the problem? Where's the question? Because we're talking about going broke. So if they just said something was woke, you call whatever the fuck you want woke. Who cares? Y'all call every fucking thing woke. That's not the point here. The point is, it didn't go broke.
Successfully steelmanned their argument, so now let's melt it to the ground.
First
of all, the assertion that companies go broke by going woke is not supported by empirical evidence.
It is so much so that was it Forbes? I don't remember. That companies worldwide are pulling out of it.
You can hear him Googling. Okay. Again, these guys just apparently think I put things on the screen for my health. I am literally showing an actual study on this very topic. These products and advertising, right there, says it, third paragraph, 3.5 boost to shorter term sales, and a more than 16% increase in the longer term. Remember, the thesis of this video is that when something goes woke, it does not go broke. That's the thesis of the video. I'm supporting that with evidence right now on the screen. I have an actual study on the very topic that we are talking about. Based on an analysis of 392 brands across 58 countries, the research, which claims to be the first of its kind, indicates the positive impact of inclusive advertising on outcomes. I have the study.
What you're reading is advertisement for...
What I'm reading is advertisement?
Or the adoption of this shit, not the result.
Okay, so earlier in the video, I showed Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers maligning Nike's decision to hire Colin Kaepernick as a spokesperson. Literally on the screen, I'm showing the financial outcome of that. Nike sales are up 31% since the Kaepernick campaign. Like, literal cause and effect. It doesn't get more blatant and black and white than that. A recent poll found a 10% increase in the number of Nike customers versus the general public who say a company should take a stand on social issues. There you go. It's just right there. It's right on the screen.
The advertisement is not the result. That's the same. That's the same as with the communist bullshit.
See, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Like the literal study that I showed was talking about financial success after the fact. That's what the study was talking about. It's talking about the result of that. I don't understand. Like, did he not understand the study? What are we talking about here?
That they promise utopia and deliver hell.
Promise utopia and deliver hell.
But it delivers utopia. Well, when has it ever done that? It has delivered hell. But you judge it by what it promises.
No, look, it's on the screen. What does that say right there? With an almost 3.5% boost to short-term sales and a more than 16% increase in the long term. Sales, you numpty. That's the end result. It seems to persuade 62% of buyers to choose a product and make 15% of shoppers more loyal. We are literally talking business right now. Those are real numbers.
Because you mistake the two for each other.
Right.
Or you ignore the latter, or you just ignore the outcome.
Smud, you gotta cut him off. You gotta stop this dude from talking. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Here is 500 cigarettes, thank you, sir. Birdman scoffs at the idea of businesses being hurt by the inclusion of gay people and racial minorities, yet every time these products are released to China and the Middle East, those moments are furiously edited out. Why do you suppose that is, Turdman? Yeah, the whole idea of freedom of speech in the West and why we allow it, compared to all those other countries who say this is crap.
Oh yeah, like Spider-Man when they removed all of the trans shit and gay people dialogue and whatnot.
So I have an answer. A place like China is ethnically homogenous. They have, and again, I've been to places that are ethnically homogenous. You know, I've gone to Japan so many times that people think I live there now. An ethnically homogenous country has a very simplistic view of the world. They can be very complex in their own insular media. But when it comes to looking at the outside world, the way that they look at it is very simplistic. This is why when you look at like a Japanese manga, for example, the way that they depict like white Americans, very obvious. And this is why it's always funny to me when these white people go, well, anime is depicting white people. No, they're not. Because when they actually are depicting white people, it's very obvious. Your nose is going to be huge. Yeah, your hair is almost always going to be blonde because they don't think that white people with black or brown hair exist for some reason. Okay, your eyes are almost always going to be.
He's making these huge sweeping generalizations about the majority of the world. The majority of the cultures that aren't basically all but the Western nations, and even most of the Western nations are homogenous. So everybody has a simplistic look at everybody else. Well, the outside world. But in reality, they all have the same outlook compared to the Western.
Depicted as blue. Like they have a very simplistic view of white people. That would then translate.
And he's making this judgment based on how characters are drawn. To like they would think black people are also very simplistic in their depictions, right? And since American media has depicted black people as, you know, thugs or gang members or, you know, like a lot of negative stereotypes or whatever, that's what they see. So they think that is how black people really are. It takes a very special person living in a homogenous country to not be that way. It's just natural. He's saying the vast majority of people are racist in these countries. You understand that? That it's hard for them. It takes a very special, it's rare for an individual in one of these homogenized countries to be able to understand that human beings are individuals. And no particular monolith exists for any of the particular tribes. Like, I don't think he realizes the depth of how wrong he is with what he's saying. And just, it's sad. It's sad. Because he's so confident.
For them to think like that, because American media is very prolific, and it's what you see it's the whole perception is reality thing. That's their perception, so that's their reality. That's what they think black people are. So if you have a homogenous country like that, that's why that type of thing happens. I wouldn't necessarily lean to racism. I wouldn't go, oh, they're racist, because they're, it would be a very nuanced conversation. And I think that that's something that gets lost in these things. Like the person who gave the super chat.
It's not nuanced when it's a point of view that you believe. But if it goes against your narrative, but for you to use the same logic that you use against white people against another race would get you backlash, and you know that, then you start to do these mental gymnastics and dance around everything.
I'm pretty sure they thought that was a gotcha moment. It's not really, though. Like I said, I have personal experience with people that are from homogenous countries. And I know the way that they look at the world is based on media. So that's really what it is. So yeah, I wouldn't immediately go they're racist or sexist or whatever. It would be a very nuanced conversation, and I would have to look at each individual case as a case by case. So that's my answer.
Then all of this stuff is okay. It's only this woke crap. All this crap is only pushed on countries that are neither socialist nor Islamic. And it is stuff that they know weakens a populace.
Weakens a populace. He's such a Hitler youth. Like, you could tell where he's going with this. It's Jesus. Come on, man. Shut up.
All right.
All right. Yeah. And I remember the whole they banned the mod that removes the.
All right. These guys are clearly gooners. They want pornographic mods in games. I really don't care about this topic, so let's skip forward here. Look how long they stay on this. Are they even going to finish my video? Holy fuck, bro. And that guy had the fucking nerve to say, oh, 5 minutes, bitch. It's 1 hour, 15 fucking minutes and 51 seconds before you guys get to the 8th minute of my video. Come on, man. Stock reached an all-time high within weeks. Apple is very obviously
When was that?
committed to inclusivity and diversity, and it remains
Wait.
the
That
most
has
valuable
nothing
company
to
on
do
Earth.
with Apple.
Wait. Show that graph again, please.
Apple's $1 trillion company. Oh, they remain blah, blah, blah.
yes.
It's like,
To be so for real, last year was kind of a lot for me. I was just feeling kind of like burned out and stuck.
How do they not realize this refutes their argument?
Because it doesn't. Apple started doing the woke shit in the last 10, 15 years. They were already a giant company. So if they were gonna go broke, it'd be like similar to Disney going broke. It's gonna take a long ass fucking time. Especially since half the world still buys their phones and it only costs them $1 to build a $1,000 iPhone. But he'll sit there and act like he's refuting their arguments. Like, that's why I'm just kind of zoned out. I'm gonna play some chess. And I'll listen to see if there's anything else I want to jump in on, but this motherfucker is a trash human being.
They are woke.
If he is smarter than he's giving off, if he actually knows that what he's saying is lying and he actually is grifting, and that's the reason for the whole projection that he's been doing with this, exposing the grift. If he's just stupid and he's unaware, then I guess he's not a trash person. He's just ignorant. But I think he knows better, and he's just catering to the little audience that he has. He's just trying to hold on to those motherfuckers, and this is what they like because they're on that woke train shit.
They're not broke. That's the point, you absolute morons. And I have to see where they're going with the Nike thing. Like, what is the argument here? Like, please.
Yeah.
Okay, what is it? Oh, Nike stock surges.
That's in 2018.
Is
that
it?
was 6 years ago.
What is it being 6 years ago have to do with anything? You remember, he asked, why is Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers a clown? This is why. He said this is the worst thing that they could do. This is a bad move. This is get woke, go broke. That's what he said. I then show the evidence that the opposite happened. Their stock price went up.
Stock price isn't really a one-to-one representation. Very similar to the crypto market. So I'd be careful on making assumptions based on just the stock price. But that's what he does. He wants to cherry pick one piece of information that seems on the surface a very superficial level to reinforce his already previously held belief, and then run with that and just claim that it refutes whatever argument they make, even if they make a much more specific argument than the one that he's saying.
Because of hiring Colin Kaepernick for that campaign. So asking me what the year has to do with anything, you're missing the fucking point. The point is not, this is Nike today. I didn't say that. I was refuting the idea that go woke, go broke was a thing. Because he said this is them getting woke, going broke. And they didn't go broke. That's the point. You guys are so oblivious. This is who they send for me, guys. This is who they send for the Birdman. Whenever I make a fucking video essay,
the reason why people have focused in on you is because of the outlandish, stupid ass shit that you say on a constant basis. No more, no less. You're not that special. But when people continue to lie to their audience and try to grift their audience, people should call them out, right? Birdman? Except for you, right?
These are the people that come after me. People that literally can't keep up with the video.
And it looks like, oh, look, there was a slump and then it got up.
Well, and I'll say this too, you don't make the most coherent videos either. Just like this one, for an hour and 15 minutes, I'd say you've rambled about subjects that have nothing to do with the arguments being posed, or you haven't allowed the audience to hear the full argument being posed and just move on before the audience can hear it themselves. Which I know why you would do that, because your audience is foolish enough to have faith in you that you're not misrepresenting their arguments. But we both know you are.
Can I see the other stuff further left?
As soon as you hit 20...
This is just a recovery.
Yeah, but as soon as...
So you want to cherry pick an example that has nothing to do with what we're talking about?
You mean like the example that you used in your video?
Can you scroll further to the left? What would that have to do with anything? We're talking about the period of time where Nike got woke and didn't go broke. Their sales actually went up. That's what we are talking about. Why are you trying to look at an example of them not doing the thing that we're talking about? If you go to the left, what would that prove?
Why is there this huge spike?
It doesn't matter. It's usually 2020. All this goes to shit. So who cares?
In 2020, all this goes to shit. So who cares? I feel like I'm repeating myself over and over.
Because the fact that all of this fell off a cliff may speak to the fact that your point isn't really refuting theirs. But you've cherry-picked a portion of the data that you thought would be helpful for your argument.
A lot of things went to shit because of the fucking pandemic. I don't know what you think you're saying. A lot of companies went down because of the pandemic. It has nothing to do with what we are talking about. Like, the fact that you think you said something is insane to me. You have to bring up ridiculous nonsense. It's on the screen. Nike stock price reaches all-time high after Colin Kaepernick ad. It's on the fucking screen. That's what I'm showing. Because of a global fucking pandemic happened has nothing to do with this.
There's a thing called the pandemic where the stock market crashed in March.
My neighbor Brian was like, yo, where'd you get this knife? I'm like, bespoke postman.
It kind of speaks to the fact that your stock market example isn't really good for suggesting the total value of a company.
Now, see, you talking about bespoke all the time. Is it worth it?
What does this have to do with anything, though?
Perfect. That's a perfect fucking soundbite. There you go. What does what he just said have to do with anything? I know he's saying something else, but like that coming on the heel of what Smut just said, brilliant. Steven Spielberg couldn't have scripted that better. Like, holy fucking shit. And to answer your question, other guy, this has to do with what I showed earlier. A guy saying something was going to go broke by going woke. Guess what? Didn't happen. That's what it has to do. That's what.
Nobody said that because they went woke that they would immediately be bankrupt and go out of business. That's not. I don't know why you would take it to the literal extremes. I think you're just being purposefully to grift.
What it has to do. Showing evidence of a company not going broke after going woke. There you go. That's the answer. Stupid. Let's skip ahead because these guys are so fucking stupid. It beggars belief. Committed to inclusivity and diversity, and it remains the most valuable company on earth. Stupid. Let's skip ahead because these guys are so fucking stupid. It beggars belief. Committed to inclusivity.
It beggars belief? Beggars belief? Huh. Interesting. I didn't know that's.
Inclusivity and diversity, and it remains the most valuable company on earth. Netflix has diversity initiatives.
Yeah, because its main customers are hipsters.
Yeah, but that.
Oh my God, that's not an answer. That's not an answer, bro. They are woke. They're not broke. So, like, this is my point. Okay, this is. Like, the whole thing that I'm trying to get people to understand is that something going broke has an explanation. Like, I'm looking through the chat here. Some people are mentioning Concord and other things like that. So those other things had an explanation that wasn't just, oh, it's woke. Because if the answer for things going broke is that, oh, it's woke, you have to account for these things not going broke because they're also woke. So there is another explanation. That's what I'm trying to get you to understand. You're not providing any intellectual analysis, no scientific process. It's just, oh, woke stuff, that's why it was broke. No, that's not the answer. Because you have to account for the things that don't go broke, which there are a lot, a fuck ton, as my study showed. 392 brands. 300, that's a lot of fucking brands, dude. And it was various things. They go woke, they didn't go broke. They actually saw an increase. So you have to explain it with something else. That's the point that I'm trying to make. It's not the wokeness that's doing it. It's something else. Maybe a game like Concord is just bad. I didn't play Concord, so I don't really know. Maybe it's just bad. Maybe it just sucked. Have you thought about that? Plenty of woke games that do well. Like, wasn't The Last of Us Part 2 woke? Had a trans person in it, had a buff woman in it. What was the sales for that game? Let's take a look. All right, part 2 is one of the best-selling PlayStation 4 games and the fastest-selling PlayStation 4 exclusive.
Again, this is very similar to the bringing up the box office numbers for a movie that turns out to be woke. People don't know what they're getting before they buy one of these products. So trying to use how many units it sold isn't exactly the best metric to go on. It would be the replay value. It would be how many people are watching it be played. You know, there'd be a lot of other metrics that I would use to determine whether a video game being woke hurt the company. Like, its next video game that came out, how did it sell? You know. Who the fuck is crying?
It's Lux. He's in Georgia. Want food, babe?
What is it?
That's how.
With over 4 million units sold in its release weekend, over 10 million by 2022. I think that speaks for itself. And this was a game that that was a game that people were shitting on before it came out. So I'm trying to figure out what is the actual reason why things fail, because it's clearly not wokeness. It's clearly not. That's the point that we're making here. Keep up, guys.
They have overpriced Linux boxes. That's it. And they got a bunch of apps that are compatible only with their hardware. Wow.
That's not an argument, Smud. That's not an argument. You're not arguing against what the fuck I just said. Apple is the biggest company on earth. They are very clearly dedicated to being what you guys call woke.
But if they had been that dedicated from when they came out, the company wouldn't